We are live on a Monday edition of the Sports Bash, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, and live video streaming on the X platform, YouTube, 97.3 ESPN. I'm your host, Mike Gill. Josh Henning is producing today's show. Yeah, we're back from Clearwater. Man, it was a ride last night. Anybody out there that was on that flight home from Tampa last night, the last 5 minutes got a little bit itchy, but the guy did a great job. We're back, man. Woo! We got delayed on Monday. We never even made it out on Monday because of some weather issues, but Clearwater, Phil's final game today, opening day, Thursday, and the Phillies have set their 26-man roster, their pitching staff. They gave Cristopher Sanchez a massive deal. We'll get into that. Jeff Kerr is going to join us at 3 o'clock. McGarry, Luzardo pitched today, 5 innings, 7 hits, 6 strikeouts in his final tune-up before the regular season. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of Phillies. I know it feels like the same team and a lot of stuff, but being down there this week, it was packed with Philly fans. People were into it. Like, is this season starting to get you excited? We'll get into that. Also, the Eagles made a bunch of little moves while I was gone. Boy, they waited. They said, you know what? Mike Gill's gone. Let's just load up on a bunch of deals. Josh got a chance to talk about all those. So we'll kind of go back and give you my little thoughts on them because I thought some of these deals were sneaky little moves.
Well, you know, Mike,
hold on a second. 4. Wow, you moved over to 4 now? Well, we're really making moves here.
How you doing over there?
Okay. Well, you used to be on 2. Then you were on 3. Now you're on 4.
Well, 3 doesn't work, and 2's not good, so we go to 4.
Okay.
Well, you know what the Eagles decided, Mike? They said that we know how much football Josh loves, so we'll give Josh all the football news for 3 days.
Well, it's not like I don't like football. I just, there was a plethora of moves while I was gone, and I was like, oh, wow, they brought back Dallas Goedert. Good move. They bring in Hollywood Brown. Interesting move. Then Jaden Waddle got traded, and, of course, that started, I'm sure, to permeate a lot of people wondering what was going on.
That percolated.
And then we saw just a bunch of kind of minor moves. They end up trading for Andy Dalton, which I thought was okay. I figured my initial reaction to the Andy Dalton move was they must have a deal for Tanner McKee that they're intrigued by. Now, I heard some reports that the Jets were interested in McKee, but that the Eagles wanted a second-round pick for him, and that they eventually essentially said, no, thank you. So we'll see there. That was according to ESPN's Rich Cimini, who's very plugged into the Jets there. So he said the Eagles want a second-round pick for Tanner McKee. So now you have Andy Dalton and Tanner McKee on the roster. Now, Dalton essentially replaces Sam Howell. People forget, Sam Howell was here all year last year, a guy who had starting NFL experience, and he never played a game. So now I think the Eagles on draft night, or between now and draft night, really start to turn up to see what kind of market they can get for Tanner McKee. That's what I think the Andy Dalton move means there.
And don't forget, this is not a great quarterback class. And so there's a lot of teams that are going to be looking around being like, I didn't get the guy I really wanted. And I think that's what the Eagles are angling toward. I think this will probably be like a draft, day 2 kind of trade where someone doesn't get who they want and they get a little desperate.
Well, we'll see. They want a second-round pick. I don't know that happens, but teams, as you just said, they get desperate, and maybe they overpay. I think a second-round pick for Tanner McKee is a great win for the Eagles if they can get it. Now you have Andy Dalton here. So, Marcus Epps, he is back, which means I would imagine, as of right now, Marcus Epps and Andrew Makuba will be your safeties when the season starts. They did trade Sidney Brown, a guy that, if you listen to Football at 4, Adam Kaplan has been telling us for the last year or so that they only view Sidney Brown as really a special teamer. So they trade Sidney Brown and a 4th-round pick and a 6th-round pick.
Pick swap.
And basically got better picks. They said, we'll take your 4th and 6th, and we'll give you Sidney Brown. So they move up a couple spots in the 4th and the 6th, and they give away Sidney Brown. Okay, I don't think that's much of a loss there, and you move up a couple spots. Good move by Howie. Nothing earth-shattering there. That being said, they then got Dameon Pierce, a running back. Now, Pierce is interesting. This is a guy who was the starting running back in 2022 for the Houston Texans. Was a rookie and just kind of came out of nowhere and had almost a 1,000-yard season his rookie season. And then he hasn't done anything really since. So I don't know what this move is. Maybe he's the A.J. Dillon and just kind of on the practice squad all year long in case somebody got hurt. An intriguing player, doesn't push my pile all that much. Okay, bigger. The Eagles are the king of finding guys who had relevancy with a big name and then not doing anything with them, right? They signed like linebackers. Who was the linebacker from Tampa they signed a couple of years ago?
Devin White.
And then people were like, oh, my God, they went out and got Devin White. This is huge. And then, of course, he got cut. They got the running back Rashad Penny, a guy that was really good but always hurt. This feels like in that range. The Dameon Pierce is like, they want me to be excited about it, but they're not suckering me in on this one. I see no role for Dameon Pierce on this team.
He's a camp body. It's fine.
That's a camp body. Yeah, that's a no role. Then, this one was interesting. They reworked Jake Elliott's contract. Now, his salary goes down from $6 million to $5 million, but that's essentially them saying that it's all guaranteed money, by the way. That's essentially them saying Jake Elliott's the kicker. They will not bring in competition for him, and he is the kicker. So for the people who were wondering, they told you Jake Elliott is our guy. Don't ask questions. Okay. A.J. Dillon, he signed away to go to the Panthers, so they replace him with Pierce. Let's keep going. Hollywood Brown. This is a 1-year, $6.5 million deal. Two things here. One, he's the slot guy, the kind of slot guy that I've been asking for a while here. Your classic, stretch the field burner that can go down, make big plays, kind of like the undersized, playmaker that the Eagles just have not had a real number 3 guy. Or do they play him across from Devontae Smith in the event that they trade A.J. Brown? I would rather the former than the latter. You're the third guy here, but you're kind of the Torrey Smith. You can stretch the field, make big plays. They have to account for you. If he's on the field, you got to account for Hollywood Brown. That happened on St. Patty's Day, by the way.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff happening here. So, A.J. Brown, going all the way back, nothing's really changed there. Teams are in, teams are out. No, they're all out right now. Then Jalen Waddle gets traded, and they gets a first and a third, correct?
Yes.
So that, of course, re-percolates all that conversation.
Right, because you're giving up a guy in Jalen Waddle who is a lesser player than A.J. Brown, and you got a first and a third, which justifies Howie's position, according to reports, that he's looking for a 1 and a 2. Because if the market is saying, Mike, hey, Jalen Waddle gets a 1 and a 3, DJ Moore gets a 2, well, that should equal A.J. Brown getting a 1 and a 2.
Right, which then means that this deal doesn't happen until probably after the draft, and you're getting the first and third for next year's draft.
Right, which, again, next year's draft is supposed to be a better draft anyway, if you believe some of the reports out there.
Yeah, well, the one thing would be, if you're trading a player of A.J. Brown's magnitude, you still think you're a Super Bowl contender this season,
yes,
but you're not getting anything back to help the team this season. That's a tough person. That's a tough player to lose and not replace for the upcoming season if you legitimately think you're a Super Bowl contender. And I think the Eagles enter almost every season thinking that they are a legitimate Super Bowl contender and don't want to just take the year off and then say, hey, we'll kick the can down the road to next draft to replace A.J. Brown, and maybe not even replace A.J. Brown, just get something on the roster for giving up A.J. Brown. That's the hard part with that one. So there was a lot that happened with the Eagles that really kind of, I don't know if they've reshaped anything here, but the messaging is, okay, Marcus Epps, Andrew Makuba, right now we got two guys we like at safety, and then I don't think that means they can't draft another safety, but they did trade away Sidney Brown, so they're pretty light at that position. I know they signed a special teams guy, J.T. Gray, who's more of a special teams player.
Well, so is Sidney Brown. Sidney Brown played the majority of his snaps in special teams anyway. And by the way, don't forget, they also have Michael Carter. They renegotiated his contract. He can play safety as well.
So, I think over the next, by the way, the draft is exactly 1 month from today.
Excited?
I am excited, and I have news on our draft party, which I will share with everybody on Friday.
Fancy.
I am getting the final details of the who, the what, the where, the why, and all that good stuff, and I will have all that information on Friday's show.
T's crossed, I's dotted?
Pretty much. I mean, I pretty much know. I know where it is and that kind of stuff, but there's a few little things that we're putting together to make it bigger. So Thursday, of course, we will be live at the Anchorage opening day for the Phillies opening day watch party. And today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, it's your last 3 chances to enter. And we're going to be doing bonus entries all day. So listen all day. You're going to have the sounder, and then we're going to give you other ways. Plus, if you follow us on social media, at 973 ESPN. Some of you have been doing this. Not as many as I was thinking, though. But there is directions. And if you're watching on YouTube or on the X platform, you get bonus chances by watching the show on YouTube. So you want to watch on YouTube, you want to follow us on social media, you want to listen on the radio. If you want to win that trip to Baltimore, you only have a couple shows left to do it. And we're going to be at the Anchorage on Wednesday. That will be for opening day. I imagine that the Phillies lineup today is their lineup for that game, and I'll give it to you in just 1 second here. I do want to talk about the Cristopher Sanchez thing. Now, Sanchez pitched the day I went to the game. Now, he had pitched to the WBC, and that all happened on Monday, by the way. Not Monday. Tuesday night was the championship game for the WBC.
But he pitched Monday.
Right. He pitched Monday for the Dominican team and then pitched for the Phillies on Friday.
Right.
I got a take on the USA game, by the way. And I'm interested to see what the reaction was on your show that next day.
You mean me filling in on your show?
Yeah. You were hosting the show.
Yes.
I had a take about the game. And now the USA lost, and there's a lot of takes I have from this whole WBC. Okay?
A lot of people with a lot of varying opinions about the game.
I have a lot on the whole situation, and then Harper hitting the home run, which everybody went bonkers for. That, oh, Harper came up with a big hit, and I was very unimpressed.
Wow.
Am I supposed to think Bryce Harper...
Twained it.
Don't impress me much, yes. Am I supposed to think because Bryce Harper hit a home run off a tomato can? That pitcher hasn't pitched in the big leagues in 3 years. He's a 32-year-old journeyman who, by the way, if you thought that in any real game that the team trying to win a championship of any legitimacy is pitching a right-handed journeyman in the 8th inning against Bryce Harper, you're out of your mind. The whole problem I have with that moment is Venezuela, by the way, who won the thing with not even a full roster. You don't think Jose Alvarado, a lefty from Venezuela, would have been pitching in that moment in the 8th inning against Bryce Harper, a lefty on lefty? He faced a right-hander with an ERA of about 9. Who couldn't cut it with the Nationals. So Bryce Harper, yes, should be commended. He came up in a big spot, hit a home run, and tied the game up. But let's be honest. That's the equivalent of a Philippe Aumont out there pitching for Canada and serving one up. Of course Bryce Harper should hit a home run in that spot.
Well, you say of course, but the problem is Team USA got shut down by Eduardo Rodriguez.
Eduardo Rodriguez is a legit major league pitcher, though.
A journeyman.
Still, he's a legit. I'm not. Forget all that. I'm not talking about the United States team. I'm talking about people where, like, Harper came up big, finally, in a big moment. And he did, but I wasn't all that impressed that it was against a right-handed journeyman pitcher in the 8th inning of a game where he's not facing a right-handed bullpen arm in that moment of any. My point is, in a playoff game, if that was the World Series, does anybody think he was facing a right-handed journeyman in that moment?
No, but the issue to me wasn't the fact of who he faced. The issue to me was that Team USA did nothing all night.
I'm not talking about Team USA. I'm talking about Harper. The Team USA in general is a disappointing situation because
whole team
I don't care about the rest of the team. I'm talking about Harper. The rest of the game I didn't care about. They got shut down. They lost to a watered-down Venezuela team. The whole thing I said is a joke. The U.S. just doesn't care as much as these other countries do. These countries, they talked about it. Julio Rodriguez said he would rather win the WBC than the World Series. There's not one player on the United States team that rather win that tournament over the World Series. So the fact that they lost the game, it's not surprising at all. Venezuela wants it more than the United States does in that kind of tournament. In the United States, those tournaments just don't resonate with us. They are much bigger in soccer countries and other places, and that's fine. It's a very conflicting thing anyway. I see Cristopher Sanchez pitching for the Dominican Republic team, and I'm rooting for him. I want to see Cristopher Sanchez pitch well. My point was more the Harper situation. That people were like, he came up big in a big moment. It was the 8th inning of a made-up tournament against a pitcher who stunk. So I wasn't all that impressed. That's all. The rest of the game and the tournament, yeah, they got shut, and it was very disappointing. And whatever you want to say about that, but I don't care about Aaron Judge coming up small again or whoever else. And by the way, you could throw Schwarber into that mix. But the Harper, he was the guy that came up and hit the home run, and he should be commended for it. But somebody posted, I think it was McGarry, where does that Bryce Harper home run rank on his list? And I said, somewhere in July against the Nationals, because that's where the guy came from. He pitched for the Nationals like 3 years ago.
We just got to play. They don't impress me much under this whole segment. So,
yeah, I wasn't all that impressed with the with that Harper situation. Now, I will say, the WBC, which I'm just not, like, I just don't care really. It's like, whatever. I was more, the fact that there's meaningful baseball games with the crowd in March, I do think is cool. I just, put it this way, my day was not ruined by the fact that the United States did not win the tournament. That's all. Like, I'm not like broken up by the fact that they didn't win and, oh my gosh, it was a fun tournament. Like the fact that people got behind it and all that stuff. I think it adds some juice to March. It gives like March primetime baseball games. But Bryce Harper hitting against a right-handed journeyman in the 8th inning, and people are like, wow, Harper came up big. I'm like, I can't even remember the guy's name.
Well, no one can remember his name. But the reason why people are excited is because the reason why people told me they were excited when I was out and about this past week, which is they were all saying, look, the Sixers are nothing to watch, even though they're winning, and it's late at night. The Flyers.
I did watch the Sixers, by the way.
Flyers, nobody knows how that team is winning games. I mean, that team won 3 games they're not supposed to win on that road trip. So people looked at that WBC final as, hey, I got Harper, I got Schwarber, I got something I connect to here.
Yeah, sure, and that's what I said. Like, but that's why Monday I was watching the Dominican game and for Cristopher Sanchez. Yeah. So I was rooting more for like the Phillies players to do well,
which is fine,
more so than any team. I didn't really, it wasn't like, this team won or that team won. I mean, these teams are all made up anyway. I mean, who's the catcher? Austin Wells. I guess his mother happens to be from the Dominican Republic.
So confusing.
So he's the catcher for that. I mean, I just can't get into all that stuff. Now, my buddy was texting me, and he said, like, you're just against this. I said, no, I'm not against the tournament. I like the concept of it, but they just got to come up with a better concept. I like the concept of the
better execution.
Yeah, it just needs to be done better. Like, I don't need to see. I'm at spring training. Now, I happen to be at the game when Harper and Schwarber actually played.
Good for you.
And
right?
Sanchez pitched. Now, I will give you my thought on the Sanchez thing. Now, I love Cristopher Sanchez. He is quickly becoming probably my favorite pitcher in all of baseball. All right? Whew. I'm a little torn on this 6-year contract thing.
Wow.
Now, I'm happy for him. Like I said, he's my favorite pitcher, probably in the entire game right now. He deserves the contract, but it's probably not good business for the Phillies financially. Now, I don't care. There's no salary cap, but I guess that could be debated as this CBA is coming up. But the fact of the matter is, they had the National League Cy Young runner-up on one of the most team-friendly deals in the history of the game, and they ripped that thing up and now gave him this deal, which, again, he is deserving of. I'm just putting on the business hat and saying, is that going to prevent you from doing other things? You had this guy on this deal that could have, it's like having the quarterback on the rookie deal. You can spend money elsewhere. You have the ace pitcher on the rookie deal that you could keep adding around him, and instead of adding others, you gave to him. Again, good job by the Phillies. I'm just talking about it from a strategic standpoint.
Well, as part of the strategy, maybe to tell other players around the league, hey, you come to Philadelphia, we take care of you.
I get that point of it. I get that point of, it's a good thing, and people say they'll do that. So there's the other side of it, too. But you see what I'm saying. They had him on the most team-friendly deal. He had a $22 million 4-year deal through 2028. I mean, he was like one of the biggest bargains in the history of baseball.
Right.
And now he gets this massive, massive deal. Now, I want to get into all this, too. Jeff Kerr is going to join us at 3. McGarry's coming up in just a little bit. Lazaro, $135, 5-year deal. Wheeler has $126 million through 2027. Nola had a $172 million 7-year deal through 2030. And then you have Painter and Walker. Now, Wheeler pitched today.
Yes.
In a minor league game.
Yeah, minor league simulated game.
30 pitches?
27 pitches. Looked really good. This video I saw.
So now he's not going to be ready to start the season, but I would imagine that he will be back before April is done.
So Wheeler's already confirmed that he's going to be with the team on opening day, even though he's not on the active roster yet.
So he's not staying behind in Clearwater to keep pitching or do anything else. I would imagine he's back maybe by the 3rd week of the season. What are they going to do with the Walker-Painter situation? That is something we're going to get into. 609-403-0973 on the White Horse RV text board. A lot of people texting in right now.
People missed you.
That's very nice of them. I miss them as well. 609-403-0973. Text in your thoughts. Did you somebody said Josh is coming to Harper's defense. I thought he hated Harper.
Oh, I don't hate Harper. I just don't like him crying about the Dombrowski stuff.
Will there be no baseball in 2027? That's an interesting point because we were in Clearwater, and there's a lot of people down there because of spring training that are very fearful that there might be no spring training next year and what that would do to the workers and the economy of the Clearwater area.
That'd be like doomsday.
It was a packed house on every day this past week. 609-403-0973. So that's where we start today. We have so much that we just kind of rattle off. Plus, Sixers tonight, the return of Jared McCain, which apparently the Sixers are planning to do some sort of thing for him, which I don't think is very necessary. I was away one night. McCain had 26 points in 29 minutes. He had 5 threes. This thing has just turned into a disaster, and he'll be there tonight. No Embiid, no Maxey. Paul George is out for the last time. Paul George is eligible to return on Wednesday night, but he is not playing tonight. I got to imagine Oklahoma City is like a 15-point favorite on the road tonight, and I would take the Thunder. McCain's going to have a monster game. You know that, right? They're going and they're going to let him play like 25 minutes. He's only been playing like 19 minutes a game. I got to imagine tonight they say, you want to go out there and have a little fun against your former team? Go at it.
16.5-point spread.
16.5-point favorites on the road tonight. the Thunder are against the Sixers. Now, somehow, some way, the Sixers have won 2 in a row on a West Coast trip. You got to give them a little credit for they are just hanging around. And if they get Embiid back Wednesday and George back Wednesday, it's pretty crazy that they've put themselves in the position they can get out of the play-in here. It looked inevitable that they were going to be in the play-in.
You know who deserves credit for that West Coast trip? Justin Edwards, getting playing time and coming up.
Good for Justin Edwards. All right, that's what we have today. Plus, the Flyers are actually still alive, too. Unbelievable. March Madness, got some thoughts on that. Sports Bash live, 97.3 ESPN. McGarry, next. 2:32. Don't forget our Phillies opening day party is Thursday at the Anchorage. We'll be live. We're giving away a trip to go see the Phillies play the Orioles in Baltimore. You can win that trip. You can enter to win the trip. Text the word Phillies to 609-403-0973 to enter, and we will contact the first 5 people that do. Text the word Phillies to 609-403-0973. Simply text Phillies, and we will connect with you to get your information. First 5 people to do it right now, you got a shot to win. We got a ton of people already entered. We're going to have a huge opening day watch party. Wear your Phillies gear to the Anchorage in Summers Point. Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City is here as the baseball season starts this week. The final day of spring training is today. And, Mike, it looks like the Phillies are going with their opening day lineup today, which will have Alec Boehm hitting in the 4-hole, very similar to last year. But one of the things I want to get your take on right off the bat here is that lineup is out for today. Schwarber, Harper, Boehm, Stott, Garcia, Marsh, Realmuto, and Crawford. I wonder, is Stott in the 5-hole a good enough upgrade from what that roster and lineup looked like a year ago?
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. First of all, Mike, they started their opening day lineup today, and they're down 7-0 here in the 8th or 9th inning. So hopefully the season goes a little bit better than today's dry run, basically. But I think one of the most interesting stories, and I'll have a column on this, in Thursday's paper and Wednesday online, getting ready for the season opener and the season to come. I think one of the storylines to follow is Alec Boehm and Bryson Stott. Are they ready to make the next jump? Both guys hit the ball great in spring training. If you go back to Bryson Stott, you go back to last August when he made what to me seems like the easy adjustment of kind of lowering the position of your hands. He turned into a different hitter at that point. Is he going to be able to sustain that? And are these two guys, Boehm and Stott, finally going to become this year what we all envisioned they would be when they first broke in 2021 and 2022?
Well, they're going to need him to. I know Boehm had a good spring down there, and obviously they're counting on him a lot. Adolis Garcia, they will hit him. It looks like if this is the lineup, and usually this is the dry run, he will hit in the 6th spot, March 7th, Realmuto 8, and then Justin Crawford 9. I want to get your take. I said the Harper thing. I want to hear what you thought about. Harper hits that home run, and everybody's like, oh, he came up big. I wasn't all that impressed. He's facing a right-handed tomato can in a game that he would never face in that situation. Should I be impressed by Harper coming up big in the WBC?
Well, I think him hitting that home run in that moment, and then granted, the quality of pitching in the WBC is shaky at best. And like you said, in that moment, if both teams didn't have all those, I don't want to say regulations, but limitations is a better word, on their relievers, Bryce Harper certainly would have been facing a lefty in that situation. So, hey, to me, it was a promising home run. He had a spring training where there weren't many promising signs. And again, we look at storylines to follow with the Phillies this year. I think Bryce Harper is, up there along with the Boehm and Stott, and just to see where is Bryce Harper. Is he, again, can he be, quote, unquote, elite again? I think it's going to be an ongoing theme this season.
Well, I actually was at the game Friday, and he had an RBI off of Skubal in that game, and I said, I'm actually more impressed at him driving in a run off Skubal, a lefty, in the spring training game than I was at him hitting the home run. I don't even remember the guy he hit one off of, but it was a right-handed guy who hasn't been in the major in like 3 years.
Yeah, I think the thing with the WBC is I know he had hit a ball deep in Houston. He had made a deep out, but I think he had looked so bad in the beginning of the WBC that when he finally did something positive and hit that home run in a big spot, I believe it tied the championship game.
2-2.
Yeah, I think we were just looking for signs of life from Bryce. We were looking for something positive, and that was it. And I'd rather get that than have him, roll over on a ground ball.
I agree with that. Yes,
yeah.
Mike McGarry for the Press of Atlantic City. Am I fair to say? Listen, I think Cristopher Sanchez is becoming my favorite pitcher in the game. So I have no problem with him getting the contract. But were you surprised that the Phillies did what they did as opposed to, hey, we got this guy on a great deal? I know it looks good on them, but do you look at that and wonder why now?
Yeah, I think what the Phillies did here was really excellent and was really the right thing to do. If you look at how Cristopher Sanchez had pitched the last 2 years, and again, you talk about, storylines to follow, I think he's got a very real shot at being a Cy Young Award winner this year. And you look at the contract he signed, the Phillies, by all rights, had to do the right thing by the player. They basically bought out the 2 option years that they held and tacked on, two $30 million years at the end for what he's pitched, for how he has pitched. That contract he signed, I joked, I wanted to know who his agent is because I thought his agent should have been fired after he signed that contract, basically. So the Phillies step in here and they really do the right thing by the player. And I think the Phillies don't exist in a vacuum. This move doesn't exist in a vacuum. I think it says to, potential free agents, everybody else on the team, that the Phillies organization is going to, if you perform well, the Phillies organization is going to pay you fairly and treat you fairly. So I thought it was a great move by the Phillies, and I thought they almost owed it to Sanchez because, the contract that he signed really for how he pitched was one of the all-time bargains. And yeah, the Phillies could have played hardball, Mike, and said, hey, you signed the deal. You signed the deal, dummy. You're pitching for that deal. But they gave him 2 $30 million years on the back end. I thought it was the right thing to do.
All right, we got Sanchez. He's going to pitch opening day for the first time. It looks like Wheeler is getting close to being a part of this rotation, probably in April. A lot of stuff comes into my head here. One, who goes? Taijuan Walker or Andrew Painter, I guess is the, what happens there. Two, Nola is in the number 2 spot in the rotation. Maybe they put Wheeler there, but what if Wheeler comes back and he's Cy Young candidate Wheeler again? Does Sanchez become your ace? Is Wheeler still the ace? Isn't that a story that is going to be interesting to kind of watch all year?
Yeah, I think Sanchez, to me, is the ace, Mike. And again, I caution teams always have this discussion. The Phillies have had this discussion in the past. You never have too much starting pitching. First of all, I know the reports on Zach Wheeler out of spring training have been excellent. It seems like he is, beating the timetable that the team set for him. But again, I just caution people. I believe people come back from injuries when they're back. You never know what's going to happen. And these situations have a way of working out themselves. We'll be in there asking, I guess, in a couple of days, hey, when Wheeler comes back, are you going to go to a 6-man rotation? What are you going to do? Who's going to be the odd man out? It's been my experience that these situations solve themselves, and teams never, emphasis on never, have too much starting pitching.
No doubt about that. It will be interesting to see the way they set it up. Nola is pitching game 2 on Saturday. Luzardo on Sunday, then Walker and Andrew Painter will be at the back end of the rotation. They'll pitch next week, and we'll see if Painter is, do you think, Mike, it's a fait accompli that Painter has made the team and he's here and Walker becomes the odd man out, or how do you see that happening?
If everybody's healthy and Zach Wheeler comes back, I think at that point Walker goes to the bullpen and becomes a kind of long man, maybe a part-time starter out of the bullpen, kind of a role that he played last year. Right? Andrew Painter is in the starting rotation. You are not going to take him and his arm, especially after having Tommy John surgery and putting the stress of him going to the bullpen, disrupting his routine. So I would think Andrew Painter won the job in spring training, quote unquote, won the job in spring training. training. He did pitch well his last couple of outings down there. So, yeah, he's in the starting rotation. I think, obviously, if they're all healthy and Wheeler comes back, Taijuan Walker will be headed to the bullpen.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, more happening here. Mike, I went away, and it seemed like it was a fait accompli that the Sixers would just kind of fade away. They won 2 straight games. Now, we don't know. We know that Embiid is not playing tonight. Maybe he comes back at some point this week. Paul George is eligible to come off the suspension on Wednesday. Should we be a little bit more optimistic about these final 3 weeks of the season?
No, because Tyrese Maxey isn't there, and who knows when Embiid is going to be back there. And without those guys, they just. I realize that when they beat Sacramento and Utah, 2 of probably the worst teams in all of basketball. Quentin Grimes has come back to life on this road trip, taking advantage of the playing time and the shots available. But again, I just can't believe in a Sixers team that doesn't have Embiid, doesn't have Maxey. And you mentioned Paul George is due to come back Wednesday, but I can't see him playing right away in that situation. And I do think that Paul George has been an underrated loss on this team. He wasn't playing great when he was suspended, but he was still 15 to 20 points a night, 5-6 rebounds, a couple of threes. He was another guy that defenses had to account for out there. So I do think he's been a loss. But Mike, I just can't put any faith in the Philadelphia 76ers because on a day-to-day basis, you never know which team they're going to throw out on the floor. And until they get some consistency in that situation, I don't know how anybody invests any time in them.
Interestingly enough, though, you lose Maxey, you figure, okay, that's the nail in the coffin, and somehow they won out west. I know they're facing teams that are tanking, but, man, those tanking teams have better talent some nights, it feels like, than the Sixers do. The difference is they're trying to lose and you're trying to win, and they get 2 out of 3 tonight. They'll play Oklahoma City. I would imagine Jared McCain, I'll take the over on his points tonight. I think he might have a good game tonight.
Yeah, I would think their winning streak would also come to an end tonight, so there you go.
I could agree. Mike, it was a crazy end to the winter sports season. The high school baseball season is about to kick off, I guess, this week somehow. But what a crazy end to the winter season for you.
Yeah, what a great ending. Ocean City winning a state title, their first state title since 1964. The Ocean City boys, Middle Township boys making a run to a South Jersey title. I often say, Mike, that 2-week stretch of the state tournament, now I'll open it up to like a 3-week stretch where the Cape Atlantic League tournament begins, and you play the Cape Atlantic League tournament. Atlantic City boys, middle girls win that this year. And then you have, the state tournament. It really is the best 2 to 3 weeks of the high school sports season. We started putting out our Press of AC awards. If you go online today, we got our girls basketball all-stars up there. The boys all-stars were were released on Friday. We'll have wrestling all-stars coming your way this week. And like you said, Mike, I don't know how it's happening, but apparently, there is a soft opening to the high school baseball season. 45-degree day, gray skies and spitting rain are going to try to open the baseball season today. So kind of crazy how the spring season gets underway.
All right. Well, there you go. You can check that out, all the coverage at Press of AC, PressOfAtlanticCity.com, or at AC Press McGarry on Twitter. All right, Mike. Appreciate it, man.
All right, Mike. We'll see you down the road. Thanks.
All right. There he is. Mike McGarry's back on Wednesday's show on the eve of the Phillies opener. We'll kind of get a full Phillies preview from Mike coming up a little bit later on this week. And, of course, coming up a little bit later on in this show, 14 minutes from now, 97.3 ESPN.com Phillies insider Jeff Kerr will join me. We'll get all his takeaways on the stuff that he has seen. The roster is now set. We're going to break that down. Poll question is up today, and you guys can vote right now at Mike Gill Show. Here's the question. Spring training ends today. Opening day is Thursday. Sixers Flyers, playoff push. The draft is a month out. Rank your excitement. If you have to pick one team to put all your focus on right now, where's your head at? Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, Eagles. Josh, did you vote yet?
I did vote.
Okay. Is it clear? Did you have to think about it?
Oh, I had to think about it.
Well, now,
I don't like the whole I have to pick one. I don't like that.
Well,
But I did.
They don't let you vote for two.
I know.
Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, Eagles. Right now, the leader in the clubhouse is at 51%, followed by 25%, 16%, and pulling up the rear at 7%. We'll tell you the order of those coming up next. Plus, don't forget Jeff Kerr, Paul Hudrick next hour. We just talked a little Sixers with Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City, and he said he can't put any faith in them. He's probably not wrong, but how are they hanging around, and when will they get Joel Embiid back, and what will this team look like when they get Paul George back? That's all still to come right here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. And don't forget, Ocean Casino Resort, Bert Kreischer, Friday, April 3rd, Saturday, April 4th at Ovation Hall. He has grown from Rolling Stone's #1 partier in the nation into one of comedy's biggest stars for the top grossing tour, hit Netflix specials, and a Sony Pictures film. The Machine. Get tickets now at theoceanac.com. All right, 253, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. I am Mike Gill. Ventnor Social's the place to go. Catch every Phil's game on their 20 big screen TVs. Enjoy great food, drinks. Visit their Facebook page for up-to-date info. Plus, a special live Sports Bash live on location April 3rd. We're going to be doing some Phillies watch parties there, select day games. We will be there throughout the year. April 3rd is our first one, and we hope to see you there. Stop on out, and we'll have some details on some great prizes that you can win. Poll question at Mike Gill Show. Phillies' final spring training game just ended. They lost 7-0, so that's it. All the fake games are over. You got the Sixers and the Flyers pushing for playoffs. The Sixers are in. The Flyers are currently out. The draft is a month out. Rank your excitement. If you have to pick one team that you're getting all your focus right now, where is your head out? Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, Eagles. Where'd you go, Josh?
I went with the Birds.
You're eagled up.
Listen, the baseball season, I don't know why they put the game in March, and I want to vote for the Flyers, but I feel like I'm the only one who would. So I wanted to give my vote. It's kind of like in politics, right? You vote for the candidate you think you might have a chance to win.
51%'s the leader, 25%'s in second, 16%'s in third, 7%'s in fourth. Who's the leader right now?
I would probably bet at the Phillies.
Phillies at 51% opening day.
Doesn't surprise me. I ran into a lot of people the last several days who are very, very excited for the Phillies.
25%. Who's getting it?
I would assume that'd be the Birds.
Eagles draft. 16%. Who is it?
This is what I don't understand because, I feel like everyone that I run into has zero interest in the Sixers right now.
Okay.
But my experience might not be the people who are on X, so that's why I'm a little, I don't know.
16% right now are focusing on the Flyers, the only team right now not in the playoffs, and 7% are focusing on the Sixers, who obviously were out on the West Coast. They're coming home. They'll play the Thunder tonight. You can hear the game on 97.3 ESPN. We'll update the poll question tonight at 5:45. Keep voting at Mike Gill Show. And right now, it's your first opportunity of the day to enter to win a trip to go see the Phillies in Baltimore against the Orioles. 609-573-3776. Right now, I need callers 7 and 8. You two are in. 7 and 8. We are heading out to see the Phillies play the Baltimore Orioles at the Inner Harbor Camden Yards. You got great tickets, lower level seats between left field and the third base line on the Philly side of the field. You'll get food on the way down with Philly soft pretzels and drinks. Round trip transportation and a pair of tickets. We'll be at the Anchorage for the Phillies watch party this Thursday for opening day. Wear your Phillies gear. Caller 7 and 8 right now. You are entered. Good luck. All right, 3 o'clock hour 2 of the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Neil in Williamstown, Ryan in Little Egg Harbor. They were caller 7 and 8. 2 chances each hour today to qualify. Since we missed a couple days last week with the tournament, we're going to get an extra qualifier throughout the day today. Listen for the sounder. If you're watching on YouTube or on our social media sites, it'll tell you exactly what you need to do if you want to enter on YouTube. Throughout the day, we will post a board up during the commercial breaks, and it will tell you what you need to do, and that will get you entered right there. You get a little bonus chance just for watching the show on the YouTube channel. By the way, the 3 o'clock hour is brought to you by Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your trusted source for heating, plumbing service, and installation. For generations, call 609-390-3907. Our Phillies insider for the 2026 season, Geoff Kerr, is here, and we got a lot to discuss. I know it has been a busy week. The Phils just finished their final spring training game, and Geoff Kerr is here to talk about the spring and everything else, and I got some other thoughts for him. It's opening day on Thursday. We got the debut of Phillies fastball. We're going to tell you more about that. Holy mackerel, Geoff Kerr, what's up, man?
Life comes at you fast, doesn't it, Mike?
Woo, it does. I mean, yesterday I was in Clearwater hanging out on the beach, and today I'm here talking to you, getting ready for the Phils. The Phils lose today 7-0, but really I thought the story was the fact that it looks like their opening day lineup played in that game today. What did you think of the lineup today? Bohm, obviously, fourth. Bryson Stott was in the 5-hole today. Garcia, sixth. And then Marsh, Realmuto, Crawford. Any surprises for you, Jeff?
I think Bryson Stott batting fifth, to me, was the big indicator of where they were going. I thought maybe Bryson Stott would be seventh again, but, I was trying to look at some numbers with all this, and I wrote it today on my Substack about him hitting fifth. After August 1st, Mike, Bryson Stott hit 327 with 5 home runs, 18 RBIs, and a 943 OPS against right-handed pitching. You add that combined to what he did this spring, I guess they're going with the hot bat batting fifth, would they not?
Sounds like it. You took the words out of my mouth. Is the fact that he had a good spring, and they are rewarding him for what they saw in spring training, right?
That's what I thought. And look, the optimal lineup, I think I would have Brandon Marsh hitting fifth because of just the way he crushes righties. But then I looked at their lineup against right-handed pitching and their lineup against left-handed pitching. Did you happen to notice that the 7th hole is filled with good hitters? So look at this. You got Brandon Marsh hitting 7th, right? Against the righties. You got Edmundo Sosa hitting 7th against lefties. Remember, they kind of revealed their lineup against the left-hand starter last week. Combined, the two have a 929 OPS. That's impressive. And to me, they're trying to set up the top of that order. They're looking at, yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Jeff, the game I was at Friday, I think that was their left-handed lineup. It was Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Bohm, Garcia, Realmuto, then Sosa, Kemp, and Crawford. So it looks like you're going to get Sosa and Kemp 7-8 with Crawford hitting 9 when there's a left-handed pitcher. That was an odd day. Skubal started the game. He left the game, and then he came back into the game.
Yeah, I think people always forget that in spring training. Like, they could take a pitcher out of an inning and then bring him back because obviously these games don't count. That's why I try to not blow spring training out of proportion because you can take a pitcher out and put him back in. But, yeah, look, I'm just looking at the left-handed lineup right now, and I kind of like it. I like Adolis Garcia hitting behind Alec Bohm in fifth. I like JT Realmuto in sixth. You move him up, and then you put Sosa and Kemp at the bottom. You got power down there, and then all of a sudden you go to Crawford. Were you surprised that they scored as many runs as they did off Skubal on Friday?
I was. I mean, I want to see what you think about this, okay? I was more impressed with Bryce Harper coming up against Skubal in the spring training game than I was him hitting the home run in the game in the WBC. Now, I know you're a WBC guy, but in no big game situation, in the bottom of the 8th inning, is he facing a right-handed tomato can in that spot. He would
Like,
have been
he's-
facing
yeah,
Jose
he's not facing-
Alvarado
yeah.
in that spot, but Alvarado wasn't on the team because of a stupid insurance thing, and I would have loved to have seen Harper versus Alvarado in that spot. So I was actually more impressed that Harper came through against Skubal in the game on Friday.
I think Harper said it best before the final of that game last week that he felt like his timing was getting back, and he felt better going. So it wasn't a surprise he was able to hit like he did, but I think sometimes he was getting into the regular season form with that WBC, and I agree with you. I thought his at-bat Friday was very impressive, and I think he's ready to go for the year. Speaking of which, Mike, are you shocked he's third?
No, I don't think so. I know there was some murmurs, but I just didn't see it happening.
Yeah, I didn't know what they roll with it until they rolled with it. They tried it early in spring training, but looks like that went by the wayside of Kyle Schwarber trying first base. I think they know Kyle Schwarber batting second, 37 home runs last season batting second. OPS of 930. Really, you can hit Kyle Schwarber anywhere in the lineup. He's going to have a high OPS. So I don't think it matters. And honestly, protecting Harper, I think that's a vote of confidence in Alec Boehm. He's going to back cleanup.
Yeah, I actually, it's funny. Last year, I was at a game when Schwarber played first base in Dunedin, and I think that was the only time we saw him even do that. It's not like he did anything wrong, but I guess they just don't want him playing in the field. You tweeted out something today as well at Jeff Kerr PHL that they will have a bunch of, you take a look at 11 new players on the roster this year.
Yeah.
And Rob Thompson was steadfast that he thinks this team is better than the team last year. And everyone said, well, you're kind of running it back. Garcia, Crawford, Kemp, Dylan Moore, Andrew Painter, Duran, Keller, and then Bolin, Backus, Pop, and Tim Meza. But that first half, Duran and Keller and Painter and Moore, how much different do you think this team really is from last year?
They're definitely a year older, but look at the rotation. Look at the bullpen. I think it's significantly better than what they came out with last year. And they had a pretty good rotation last year, right? Remember, Ranger Suarez started the year on the IL, so you didn't have him, but you had Zach Wheeler. You had Aaron Nola. You had Cristopher Sanchez. You had Taijuan Walker. I'm trying to remember who the fifth was.
Last season.
Oh, Jesus Luzardo. So, but again, you remember last year, we liked the Luzardo trade. We thought it solidified the back of the rotation. He ended up being pretty much a Cy Young candidate the first 2 months of the season.
He was awesome, yeah.
Yeah. And Zach Wheeler was Zach Wheeler. Aaron Nola was terrible last year. You'd think he might be back. Andrew Painter wasn't even a thought. Are there still some questions with Andrew Painter? Yeah, but like you said, Mike, the upside is there. And then this bullpen is significantly better.
So what happens when Wheeler is back? And it looks like that's going to be sooner than later. In fact, he threw today.
On Saturday.
Right, he threw today, and if you have any insight on that, let us know. And then Saturday, he's going to pitch at Lehigh Valley, correct?
Yeah, I had no plans on going to Lehigh Valley on Saturday night. I'm going to Lehigh now. I got to go see Zach Wheeler pitch. So, yeah, it looks like, he threw 30 pitches today. I'm curious how – I guess he'll throw 3 innings on Saturday. That'd be my guess because they're still trying to build him up. I'm curious where Orion Kirkring's going to go.
Now, Kerkering pitched on Friday in the game I was at. Did he get hurt in that game or something? Or is he just not ready? Is he just not ready to go? And that's him.
So Orion's been banged up.
Yeah.
So he had a hamstring injury. I want to say he got to camp early. And I think he got the hamstring injury. It was maybe a week before spring training started. And he thought it'd be maybe a week or 2, and the Phillies thought that as well, and ended up being 3, and then it was a little behind. So Friday was the first game he's pitched, and he's supposed to pitch Friday. He pitched today, and he was always going to start the year on the IL. So that's where the whole Meza Pop thing came out. There ended up being 2 bullpen slots, but I heard he's just going to miss the minimum of amount of time. So he'll be back by second week.
Because Meza ends up making the team. That gives him 4 lefties in the bullpen. What did you think about the whole ending of the 26-man roster with Meza making the team? They send McCambly back to Miami. They also this was underrated, they got Griff McGarry back from Washington. Brian De La Cruz goes to AAA. Dylan Moore makes the team. What did you think about the way the bullpen kind of mapped out?
Yeah, well, the bullpen. Mike, I did the 26-man roster projection. My final one, I got 25 of the 26 right. I should be proud of that. But I got Dylan Moore right. I got Zach Pop right. Tim Mesa was the one. Then I knew Kerkering was going to go on the IL, but I had Shugart making him. But then when they decided to go 4 lefties, I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. Mesa they liked last year. He was a high leverage guy in Toronto 3 years ago, and he was really good. And I think they feel like, hey, you know what? Let's give Mesa some more time here. We'll give him another look. We'll add him to the 40-man. And I'm curious, so when Kerkering comes back, who goes down? Will it be Pop or will it be Mesa? And they're keeping 4 lefties. You don't need 4 lefties, but do they give up on Pop that easily?
I was surprised by the fact that Mesa's made the team as well. I agree with you on that. We'll see what happens when Kerkering's back. What happens when Wheeler's back? Who stays, who goes? Walker or Painter?
Man, that's going to be tough. I just don't think they're going to send Andrew
because
Painter down.
That also plays into if Kerkering comes back, you've also got, let's say Walker's the odd man out. Then he goes to the bullpen. That's 2 new bullpen arms.
And maybe Pop and Mesa, right? You would think that's the 2. So, look, I'm trying to remember who made the team last year on opening day. Carlos Hernandez, I remember they claimed off waivers. There was somebody else. Joe Ross is on the team, but they signed him. I'm trying to remember the opening day roster from last season off the top of my head. But I remember Carlos Hernandez was that guy they took the flyer on last year.
Well, Jordan Romano was here. There was Carlos.
Carlos Hernandez we mentioned. Yep. There's somebody else in there that was kind of like a fill-in.
Yes, you're right. I'll get it here.
Yeah, because I remember Ranger opened on the IL. Matt Strom, did he open on the IL last year? Or he was close to opening on the IL. I don't remember if he did or not.
Last year you had Alvarado, Tanner Banks, Carlos Hernandez, Kerkering, Jordan Romano, Joe Ross, Jose Ruiz, and Matt Strom.
Ruiz was the other one. That's right. Trying to remember when Jose Ruiz came. So, look, it's 11 different guys. And when you Pop and Mesa probably go back down, it's going to be 9. But still, that's a lot of change.
What did you think? I know a lot of people, Jim Bowden, others, really surprised about the Cristopher Sanchez. Jim Bowden tweeted, the way the Phillies reworked the contract of Cristopher Sanchez sets a horrible precedent for teams. It's great for Sanchez, generous of the Phillies, but now a player that has far outperformed his agreed-upon contract could ask his club to do the same. And he was not the only one that had this point of view. Many had said, listen, you got this guy on the most team-friendly contract maybe in the history of baseball. How do you do this? What do you think?
It's a great look for the Phillies. It tells you that, hey, look, if you outperformed your contract, that we feel that, and if we like you, guess what? You're going to stick around, right? Kind of the opposite of Nick Castellanos, where they're just eating $20 million this season. They're paying him to go play for San Diego. So, I think it's great for the Phillies, but you know why people are upset? Because players on the Dodgers may say, hey, you know what? We deserve a little bit more money. What if Shohei Ohtani says, I want $100 million?
Hey, listen, I agree that if these guys, it's a tough spot. Look, Cristopher Sanchez might be my favorite pitcher in all of baseball right now. He has quickly become my favorite guy to watch and everything. So I'm happy for him. But I do see where you're saying, you got this guy on this deal. I could use the savings on him to help the team get better around. Instead, I'm paying a guy that was already getting paid for the next, 3 more years, right?
Yeah. I mean, it just shows you what the Phillies think of their rotation. And we already knew how much they were committed to pitching just because they signed Luzardo for the big deal he did. They got him locked up. You got Sanchez. He locked up even further. Aaron Nola's still under contract. Zach Wheeler, I'm sure they'll rework. Zach Wheeler's the highest paid starting pitcher in baseball, by the way.
Well, and that's where I want to get into the next question. I know this is a very hypothetical, and it's down the road. Jeff Kerr, 97.3 ESPN.com, Phillies Insider. Our new podcast, we'll tell you a little bit more about that, called Phillies Fastball. We'll be debuting on all of the social media channels. You'll be able to check that out. We'll have more details on that in just a couple of moments here. But Wheeler, Sanchez. Now, Sanchez is the healthy guy. He's getting the opening day call. But has he now become the ace? What if Wheeler returns to form? Who gets game 1 playoff pitching?
Zach Wheeler.
Wow. See, I think Sanchez is now the guy here. You don't like Wheeler maybe hands it off to Sanchez now, or no? You're going the other way.
Yeah, look, Zach Wheeler gets paid what, $42 million a year. I think Zach Wheeler gets the call.
Okay, I mean, obviously, the way they set the rotation up with Nola in the 2 spot, does that indicate that will be Wheeler's spot, and Nola maybe takes a bounce and goes behind Luzardo?
I think they're just trying to break up the lefties, right? Because in a perfect world, I think you would do Sanchez, Luzardo, Nola, Walker, Painter. But they want to break that up. So, yeah, I think Wheeler slides wherever he's available. So, and look, they have so many off days in April. They have got 3 consecutive Thursdays off. They're going to find room for him.
Yeah. Oh, listen, I'm just interested to see if they keep Sanchez as the guy, move Wheeler into Nola's spot, and then bump Nola into Walker's spot. And then it would be Sanchez, Wheeler, Luzardo, Nola, Painter. Because I got to assume Painter stays in the rotation and Walker's the one that goes to the bullpen.
Yeah, I don't think they'll send Painter down to AAA or move into the bullpen. One, I know they want to monitor his innings, but what's that tell Andrew Painter? Like, that can mess with his psyche. And, people don't like to hear that, but that's a thing.
And I think the interesting part about it, Jeff, is they're only going to get like 1 start. It's not like you're going to get 3 or 4 starts and you're like, he really doesn't look ready. I would imagine Wheeler's back probably by the end of the month here, probably.
I would assume, my educated guess was between April and May. It may be sooner than that. I think he gets maybe 2 or 3 rehab starts. Remember, there's a 30-day countdown clock starting Saturday, so he'll be back before the end of April.
All right, Jeff Kerr, let's get 1 or 2 more things here before we got a full preview on Thursday's show. We'll have the opening day lineup and all that stuff. We'll be live at the Anchorage for our opening day watch party. We're giving away a trip to Baltimore to see the Phillies play the Orioles this year. We hope everybody stops out there. Wear your Phillies gear. I guess the last couple things is Marchand wins the backup catching job. Not a real surprise, but Stubbs kind of seems like he's out of options here, maybe an odd man out. At the end of spring training, they're moving him around the outfield, some third base. I mean, does he clear and go to AAA, or is he going to get picked up someplace else? But I would imagine he's going to accept this demotion back to AAA, or is he at the point where he wants the team to let him go find another opportunity?
I think it may be time for him to go find another opportunity. And, I'm sure the Phillies would love to have Garrett Stubbs back. But they already kind of mentioned their catching depth is Renee Pinto and Paul McIntosh, right? I think they want to play them a bit. Like, what's a 32-year-old catcher going to help them with right now?
Well, it's obvious that they like him and that they
and he likes them.
Right, and wanted to give him a chance to stick around in some capacity. But I give him some credit for making a tough call there and saying, hey, you lost again, and he moves on. So that was the one kind of positional storyline there. The other one, as you tweeted out the other day, Justin Crawford, he showed that he can handle left-handed pitching. He had a triple off Scooble the other day, by the way. That'll be interesting to see if Crawford hits well and hits well against lefties, and we're halfway through the season. Do they keep him in that number 9 spot all season long?
I think it'd be best if they did, but you're right. What if he's hitting, say, 280, 290 in July?
Mm-hmm.
Do you move him up?
Well, I think the problem is he's left-handed, but he's showing that he can hit left-handed pitching. But do you want to say put him in like the number 2 hole and slide everybody back 1? I doubt they do that. Does he hit leadoff and Turner goes to 2? I doubt that happens. So it seems like he would
that
say
does
9.
Stretch the top of the order a bit more conventional. But, I mean, look, him at 9 is pretty much kind of like him batting first right now, right?
I guess so. You could look at it in that capacity there as well. So, all right. Let's talk a little bit about Phillies fastball. We're going to be doing a Phillies podcast that you're going to be able to check out on multiple platforms, YouTube, X platform. Jeff's going to be a part of it every single day. We're going to have recaps from games, preview of games, minor league updates. Tell everybody more about the third member of our show and everything that's going to be happening with where you're going to be able to find Jeff's work this Phillies season.
Well, Phillies Fastball is going to be kind of a spinoff of Phillies Weekly, which is the podcast me and Oscar Budahin like to do on Sunday nights. We've been doing that. We're going to our third season of that. We have Big Growth in year 1, Big Growth in year 2. Mike Gill's going to be part of that on a couple Sunday nights this year as well. That's our weekly show. That one's an hour and a half. Phillies Fastball, think of it as a fastball, right? It's 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We're going to give you the day's action of coming up, a recap of last night. It's going to be great. Just me, you, Oscar, just talking the Phillies, talking baseball, and just basically the pulse of the team every single day. You're going to get some Phillies content. And will we break it down like it's an Eagles game? We'll break it down like it's an Eagles game, but we won't treat it as it's the end of the world. Right, Mike?
You never know. The Phillies fans are starting to get as impatient as Eagles fans are. They won a World Series, so we'll get ready for the season. Phillies Fastball. Oscar is awesome, too. Of course, he is the Spanish play-by-play voice for the last X amount of years, so people are probably familiar with Oscar's work as well. He will be a part of that as well, and you can check that out on the X platform, YouTube, all the social medias, and make sure you follow Jeff at Geoff Kerr, PHL, for his Substack on the Phillies, and he will be at Citizens Bank Park on Thursday, and we will check in with him when that lineup is fresh and out for the Phillies and the Rangers. By the way, man, they got 3 tough pitchers they got to face in this opening series. Eovaldi, DeGrom, and Mackenzie Gore. No easy task.
They faced Mackenzie Gore last opening day, and Gore just he silenced them for 5 innings.
Right, so you would imagine you get 2 righties and a lefty, so you'll get the regular lineup for the first 2 games with Marsh and Stott, and then that third game on Sunday, if you're going to the game on Sunday, you'll get the left-handed lineup with Sosa and Kemp in the lineup. But it will be, what pitching matchups? Cristopher Sanchez, Nathan Eovaldi, Nola versus DeGrom, and then Mackenzie Gore versus Jesus Luzardo will be the Sunday matchup. Jeff Kerr will be recapping it or previewing on Thursday at Jeff Kerr PHL. All right, man. Looking forward to a great season with you.
Yeah, when are we going to start Phillies Fastball, by the way? Have we picked an opening day yet?
I think, we'll talk about it tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't want to make it definite, but because it's going to be confusing this week, right? I got Lehigh Valley Media Day on Wednesday, and we got Phillies opening day on Thursday. We'll figure it out.
We'll get it all set up, and the people will be able to get more Phillies content than ever right here on the Sports Bash. All right, Jeff. Talk to you, man.
Sounds great.
All right, there's Jeff Kerr, everybody. And don't forget, Jeff Kerr, PHL, on the Twitter X. You can follow him there for Phillies all season long. All right, coming up on the other side. Tonight, it's a very interesting game for the Sixers. Is they are basically missing everybody tonight, and they will take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. No easy task here. But it is a meaningful game. We'll tell you why and what the last couple weeks of the season could look like. Paul George set to return Wednesday night. When will Joel Embiid be back? Paul Hudrick from Liberty Ballers joins us next on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. All right, Sixers tonight taking on the Thunder. Listen to it right here on 97.3 ESPN. The return of Jared McCain taking on the Sixers, who are without Maxey, Embiid, George, Oubre. Quentin Grimes, by the way, has been downgraded. Not out yet, but he does have an illness and might not play. Feels like a lot of Sixers have been sick. Many have been hurt. Edgecombe is back. He'll play tonight. It looks like Dominic Barlow could play tonight. And by the way, the Sixers taking on the Thunder. They are 16.5-point dogs tonight at home. Somehow, some way, they went 2-1 on a West Coast trip. Now, I know they played a couple teams that were trying to lose. I turned on the game. I was in Clearwater. I turned the game on, what was that, Saturday night? And I hear Kate Scott saying Kennedy Chandler is making baskets. And I'm thinking, did the Sixers call up Kennedy Chandler? I mean, I've called a bunch of his games for the Bluecoats this year. And I'm thinking, did the Sixers actually call him up? Well, here he's going bananas for Utah the other night. Not enough to win them the game. But, Paul, somehow, some way, Paul Hudrick from Liberty Ballers is here. The Sixers are on a 2-game win streak. You got to give them a little credit for the fight they have shown there. But this is a tall task tonight with essentially the entire roster still out. And it looks like Grimes might not play as well. But on the positive side, Paul George will play on Wednesday. Do we have any information or thoughts on Embiid, who was doubtful the other night, and then he did not play the other day, and he will not play tonight? But is there any sense that he is getting any closer?
Mike, I learned a long time ago to just not even try to wade in those waters of what I think or what I suspect is going to happen. Look, I mean, and it's funny because everyone wants an update, but I don't know what else the team is going to say. He's close. Like, that's it. They're just going to keep telling you he's close. He's on the court. He's on the court today at shoot-around. He's close. I don't know. Does that mean he comes back Wednesday with Paul George? That would sure be nice to have both of those guys back in the lineup. I can tell you I don't think this would have been the greatest matchup for him to come back after missing almost a month. You throw him in there against the best team in the league, severely shorthanded. I don't think that's a situation where you're putting him in a good position to succeed or even get back. He's clearly going to be on some type of restriction, and you can't ask him to carry this version of this team right now against the loaded OKC squad. So, let's see what happens. But it would, Wednesday would make sense because it's a nice tune-up opponent for him to get, back in the swing of things, find his rhythm, find his conditioning. He also gets to play alongside Paul George, which, those two have to play together.
Well, obviously, those 2 games that they won out west put them in a much different position than some things around them. I mean, the thought has to be a little different when they went west to when they came back home to think they got a legit shot to jump back into the 5 spot all of a sudden.
Well, I think the Portland game, Mike, I think that was actually the big one. The last one they won at home, it was the second half of that back-to-back. I think, look, if you ask any Sixers beat writer, honestly, what they thought was going to happen against Portland that night, we were all thinking it was going to be a Portland blowout, that they were just going to come in here. That's a team that has plenty to play for. They're young, they're hungry, they're talented, they're really good defensively. You thought this is it. Like they're not like this is going to be the game. And then unfortunately they'll lose to Denver out west. And you kind of thought, to your point, like, things could get a little dicey. But I thought that Portland win, it showed resilience from this group. Second half of a back-to-back against the favorite opponent, and they, severely again shorthanded. Quentin Grimes was excellent. VJ Edgecombe hit some big shots. Justin Edwards was tremendous in that game. So, yeah, I do think that this team has shown, a bit of resiliency, a bit of urgency despite everything. Like you said, 2 tanky teams. That Sacramento game almost got away from them somehow. That Utah game probably should have gotten away from them. But you got to give them credit because they're doing it, right? They're getting it done. And like you said, the playoff picture – everything is right there for them to potentially get into a guaranteed playoff spot. Can these guys get healthy enough? Can they kind of coalesce enough to rip off enough wins to do it? That remains to be seen.
Well, I guess throughout this then, with all of the guys they've lost, they've somehow hung around here. 39 and 32. They're just a couple, I think, half a game out of the 5 spot.
Yeah.
And they're doing it with Justin Edwards. Barlow, I guess, might try to play tonight. Bona has been a great find. Grimes may sit out tonight. Watford, Beauchamp. I mean, you won a game with this roster the other night, but who has kind of maybe earned some more minutes throughout all the mess of this?
Well, I mean, I think Edwards is the guy who stands out because Grimes and Bona, I think have both been very good during this stretch, but they were going to play, right? Like they were going to be guys who were going to get minutes. Bona as the primary backup center and Grimes as the primary, like he's basically their sixth man at this point. But I think to see those two guys get confidence, I think is huge for when they're asked to scale back and roles. They have that confidence of knowing, hey, we can do this. Hey, we can, do these things because they're going to need Quentin Grimes to play this aggressive in certain lineups, right? Like they're going to need him to just sometimes go ahead and get a basket for himself when the offense gets a little stagnant. Bona, I'm actually kind of intrigued to see what he looks like in a playoff setting when it's just he can kind of go all out for 7.5 minutes or whatever in each half, backing up Joel Embiid. Curious to see what that looks like. But Edwards is a guy who, a pretty up and down year after what you would call a largely successful rookie season. And he's looked good. I mean, it struggled a bit in Utah. I wonder if maybe the legs were a little bit tired for not just him, but a lot of the guys on the team playing bigger roles than they're accustomed to. But he was tremendous in that Sacramento game. He was great in that Portland game. He's really put together, a handful or so of solid performances. He's shooting the ball at a high level. He's playing defense at a higher level than I ever thought he would at the end, as a professional. And the dribble drive game is back a little bit. He's able to beat some closeouts and finish at the rim. Is he a guy who's going to be in the rotation if and when they make the playoffs? I'm not sure about that, but it's nice to know that if Nick Nurse needs him, you have a guy who can come in, hit an open shot, or just give you good defense for, whatever, the 10 minutes you might need it. You need that, right? You're going to need contributions from places where maybe you didn't calculate for them. So a guy like Edwards getting that confidence and maybe carving out something here and more. Nick Nurse has always trusted him, but then to get to this level, I think that could be pretty important.
Well, I think one of the interesting things that has happened over the last couple of weeks, Embiid, it was funny. When they said 3, we joked and said, 3 means 13. Well, tonight will be his 13th game missed. And I guess he was at the shoot-around today. We'll see if he's ready at some point this week. But Bona has really just all of a sudden turned into, I don't know what happens. It feels like when these guys play without Embiid, they are much better than when they have to back Embiid up. Is that fair?
I just think it's about getting the timing, right? Like Adem Bona knows now I'm playing. I'm gonna play. Like they have to play me. And I think the same thing with Justin Edwards. I think it's just freeing to know, all right, if I make a mistake, I'm not getting a hook because they need me tonight. So I think that's a bit of it. I think too. I think we kind of forget sometimes how young these guys are. Like Adem Bona is in his second season. He's a young guy, hasn't played many high leverage situations, hasn't played big minutes, important minutes ever. So that's why I think this time has been critical for him. If you want to look for the kind of, glass half full version of what this looks like, getting Adem Bona these minutes and just getting him experience, getting him reps, playing against different teams, different opponents, different types of bigs, different coverages, all that stuff I think is important. And I think that's what's going to serve him so well when he gets to the playoffs is just, again, the time on the court and building that confidence to know that when his number is called, he can produce.
All right. As we mentioned, Paul George will be available Wednesday night. He has served the suspension. This will be the final game tonight. So he'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games down the stretch here. And I think we've learned throughout this how much of a loss he has actually turned into not having him out there.
I think the defensive end, Mike, is the biggest area. Look, the offense is good. They could really certainly use his shooting. We've seen how much they've struggled from the three-point line this season as a team as a whole. So they could definitely use his shooting. I think one of the games he just, he hit 8 threes and I think might have been his last game before he got suspended. So, they definitely need that. A little bit of supplementary shot making, shot creation couldn't hurt either. But I think defensively is where they're missing him the most. He is kind of the quarterback of their defense, the anchor. And I think when you have him and Joel Embiid both out there together, I think their defense is exponentially better than what it's been. We can talk about Nick Nurse's style all we want, about going for turnovers and over helping and giving up open threes and all that. But I think it all works better when Paul George is in the lineup. So I think from the onset, I think that's where I expect him to make the biggest impact right away. And then it's going to take him some time to find that offensive rhythm again and to find his shot. I will say though, Mike, he's been able to practice. Like that's one thing about like NBA suspensions. Like he can practice with the team as much as he wants. He just can't be at games and participate in games. So He's been at shoot-arounds. He's been at practices. The team said he gave him a look pretending to be SGA at shoot-around. So, like, he's definitely getting his reps in. He's getting his run in. So I think from a conditioning standpoint, he'll probably be pretty okay. Nothing's going to replicate an actual NBA game. But I expect him to hit the ground running, like I said, especially defensively right away.
He'll be back Wednesday night. What about Maxey and his timeline here? I know it looked like a 3-week situation, but anytime the Sixers say 3, you have to almost double everything.
Right. Well, I would say this. The caveat there is it's Tyrese Maxey and it's not Joel Embiid. So I think that there is a difference there in those. But like they are obviously the organization of the weird injuries and timelines, and that's just that they've earned that reputation by far. But yeah, I mean, look, he was already, when we saw him last week, he was exclusively practicing with his left hand during warmups before a game. He was at shoot-around today shooting with his right hand. Granted, it was pretty low key. It wasn't anything crazy. He was just taking shots from the corner and still progress. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that I expect him to be ready right at the 3-week mark, but I would say it's probably not far. I think now at this point, if at this point, Mike, he's taking shots with the right hand, I think now it's about him reacclimating himself, getting comfortable wearing that brace that he's wearing, because obviously last year he did that and it did not go well for him. They had to, wind up shutting him down for the season. So I'm less concerned about when he will be back and more concerned about what he'll look like when he's back, and if he's still, the effective shooter that we know him to be. I think that will be more my concern about as more than when he'll be back.
All right, so you're hoping to see George will be back Wednesday. Maybe Embiid we won't talk about. Maybe Maxey before the end of the regular season. Oubre, any timeline on him?
We haven't seen anything yet, but again, he was working out on the West Coast. He was with the team, so right. He's supposed to be reevaluated on, I believe Wednesday was the day he's supposed to be reevaluated. So I don't anticipate that he plays on Wednesday, but you never know. But no, he's got to be close too. And I think one thing we've learned about Kelly Oubre in our time covering him is that, like, he's going to play. When he's ready to go, if he's healthy enough, if he can walk, if he can do anything out there, he's going to give it everything he can to try to be out there. So I don't think it'll be too long for him to be back. And look, that's no small loss. The guy's having a really good year. I would say playing the best basketball of his NBA career and has become a pretty important cog on this roster in the starting lineup. So I think it's not too far off for him to be back. And I think they could really use him.
They sure could. They got 11 games after tonight, and then, of course, the playoffs will begin. Will they be a play-in? Will they make it? Well, these games all matter. Tonight's a tough one. Oklahoma City. What kind of reaction will this Jared McCain situation end up getting here?
I mean, from the fans, I think he's going to get, because even if you're the type of person who's like, like they whatever, like he was a fourth guard, right? Even if that's your feeling, like, you still can't boo him, right? Like, it's still, you can't give a negative reaction. So I think overwhelmingly it'll be cheers. And
hey, I don't think he's going to get booed. I'm just wondering if this guy is going to get like an elongated, like, standing.
I think it's going to be pretty. It's going to be a pretty serious ovation for him.
We're like Oklahoma City almost like is like, you know what? Why don't we start you tonight? Or like you almost feel like they're going to give him extra minutes tonight.
Oh, they know the situation, right? Like they know the deal. Like they're not his teammates know it. They were all around and shoot around. Like they know the deal. Like this is a guy who has a chance to kind of stick it to his former team, the team that just, let's call it like we see it, a team that gave up on him. They did. Yeah. They gave up on him. They traded him. And so if you're Jared McCain, who, the time I spent with that guy and what I know about him, he is a competitor, and you better believe he wants to drop as many points as possible on the Sixers tonight. And I do have a feeling, a hunch that the Thunder and Mark Dano are going to, give him every opportunity to do so.
16.5-point favorites for OKC tonight against the Sixers, and you can listen to the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. The final couple weeks of the season. Paul Hudrick, Liberty Ballers, everybody, is back here on the Sports Bash. Thanks, man.
You got him, Mike, anytime, man.
There's Paul, and of course tonight, Sixers and the Thunder. You can listen to it right here on 97.3 ESPN. I am Mike Gill. This is the Sports Bash. We got so much more to do coming up. We got another chance for you to qualify to enter to win that trip to go see the Phillies play down in Baltimore against the Baltimore Orioles. Spring training is over with. Opening day is coming, and we want you to be there at the Anchorage in Summers Point this Thursday for our opening day watch party. More on that coming up. Still to come, football at 4. What does Geoff Mosher think about all the moves that happened last week and what it means for the draft 1 month from today? Football at 4 in 15 minutes.
really, how many Cinderellas have we really had? All right, so we had Loyola, we've had VCU, we've had some Cinderellas, but we haven't had a lot of Cinderellas. But the ones that we've had kind of resonate with us. But now with the business of college athletics, I think it's not happening again, because if you're a good mid-major player, like the kid from Furman, who's played so well, like he's not going to be a Furman next year. And as good a job as Bob Ritchie has done, it's going to be hard to retain him. If you're a high-level mid-major player, like if I was the head coach now at a mid-major, I would treat it like a junior college. And I tell guys, I'm going to give you a stage, a platform. I'm going to help you get better. All right. And 2 years from now, you're going to tell me where you want to go to school, and we'll help you get there.
That was Seth Greenberg. It's our unsportsmanlike moment of the day. He was a guest of Unsportsmanlike this morning on 97.3 ESPN. He said the Cinderellas are pretty much dead. Is he right? Well, it seems like it. It feels like it. But I'll tell you what. He's not wrong about we've had Cinderellas in the past, meaning teams from smaller conferences make runs. But you only get like one of them. We act like, well, there's no upsets, there's no Cinderellas. I mean, you really only get these Florida Atlantics. I remember George Mason made a run years ago. VCU made a run years ago. But this tournament isn't usually filled with Cinderellas. You might get some upsets in the first round. But let's be honest. Somebody just texted in, Matt in Delaware. He says, Mike, I just want to say something about the tournament and how these national radio people talk about college basketball like they love it and watch it all year. When 2 weeks in March pops up, it's just crazy how fake they act and how they act like they know everything about these teams. And then once it goes away, it's done with, and they can care less. He thinks it's comical. Well, Matt, I mean, that's generally everybody. Most people watch college basketball once the tournaments get here. Very few people are diehards that watch from November all the way through. And then you have the NIL. You don't know where these guys are playing. You're seeing guys pop up, and you're like, wait, that guy's on that team now? So, yeah, you're right. Like, they shouldn't – people – listen, there's a lot of people out there who do watch college basketball all the time. I'm one of them. I watch a lot of college basketball. But our audience here just does not watch the college basketball that I watch. So if I'm talking college basketball with people, I'm going to lose them. Matt, you might watch it, and maybe the host does, but he can't talk college basketball. There's just not enough interest from the audience. But I will say this, what Greenberg said, that the star players, no, he's absolutely right. They are not going to stay at these places unless, the guy from Iona was here last year, Clayton, and he ended up going to Florida. And now he got drafted in the lottery. You're going to see a lot of that, where these guys play at Iona, or they play at Siena, or they play at wherever, and then they move on to the next big spot. You're going to see a lot of that happening. And that will pretty much – the only chance the Cinderella has is if when that guy plays for Iona, he's good enough to get him there that first time. Because once he does that, he's gone. That being said, there's a lot of great games in this tournament. Now, you didn't get a lot of upsets. You had a three-quarters court shot that won a game. I mean, there's been some great endings. Florida lost yesterday. A 1 seed is out. My bracket is completely done. I did pick High Point, but the problem was I picked all their friends. McNeese, Troy. I had all of the Cinderellas. This tournament, always love it. A lot of fun. Matt in Delaware, you're not wrong. But I think that there are these hosts that care more about college basketball than you're giving them credit for. They just aren't really – they do know that their audience isn't watching as much college basketball with them. Now, you might, Matt. I don't know who you're watching. I watch a lot of Big 12 because I'm West Virginia, and I watch them play a lot. They weren't very good this year. So I picked BYU. I have BYU going all the way to the Final Four because I saw Debanza play a lot this year, and I thought that kid would be good enough to get them to the Final Four. He got knocked out in the first round. Oh, well, my brackets are done. How are yours? Let us know on the White Horse RV text board. Sports Bass Live, 97.3 ESPN, your home for the Sweet 16. It all starts on Thursday night. Right now, caller 7 and 8 609-573-3776. 609-573-3776. You have a chance to enter to win a trip to go see the Phillies play the Orioles at Camden Yards. You get round trip transportation on Friday, July 31st. 2 lower level tickets to the game. Free time at the Inner Harbor and Camden Yards. You'll get fed on the way down there. Great tickets, by the way. Lower level tickets between left field and third base on the Phillies side of the field at Camden Yards. You must be present to win these tickets and the trip at the Anchorage in Summers Point this Thursday for a live Phillies watch party with the Sports Bash. Caller 7 and caller 8. Right now, good luck. Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It is brought to you by the Fanatic Sportsbook at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. A lot of people out there for the first week of the tournament, and you can check out all the tournament action. And, of course, the NFL Draft is on the way. We're going to have details on the draft party this year. Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast, which you can get on all podcasting platforms. Just search Inside the Birds. Geoff Mosher is here. It was a busy week for the Birds as they obviously made a lot of moves around the edges here. What do they all mean? Well, Moshe is here to tell us all what he thinks they all mean. Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast and, of course, PhillyVoice.com. What's up, Jeff?
Mike, how you doing, buddy? What's going on? Did you have a good time down in Clearwater?
I did. I saw, a good game. Scooble versus Sanchez. I got that game on Friday. I felt like it was like a World Series preview maybe in that one. But while I was there, things were happening. The Eagles were making moves. Let's go back a little bit and get some thoughts. It looked like Goddard was as good as gone. Not only they get him back, they get him back at a lower cost from last year. Are you surprised they got Goddard back with that deal?
Yeah, well, Josh and I talked about this a little bit last week about surprise. You just never know what a market's going to look like. And the tight end market this year, it surprised me now to look back on it and see that there just wasn't abundant. As we speak, I believe Jonnu Smith is still out there. I believe David Njoku, I think he took a visit with a team, but I don't know that he's signed yet. I mean, these were some of the top names, and for whatever reason, the tight end market this year did not materialize. Sometimes you get a year, right, Mike, where you think a guy's not that good. Adam and I constantly talk about the Christian Kirk market from 5 years ago when he signed for $18 million a year and everybody was shocked, And this is one of those where it went the other way. It's just not a big market for tight ends this year, so it hurt Dallas Goedert.
Well, and the Eagles prosper because of that. They get Goddard to come back here. They make the trade for Hollywood. Not the trade. They sign Hollywood Brown. They add him to the mix. And that, of course, sent off a lot of stuff. Okay, you're bringing in an accomplished receiver. What kind of role do you see? Let's say A.J. Brown is here. Let's start with that. What kind of role does Hollywood Brown – is it a good fit?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, he's a good fit because he's a good player. He can stretch the field. He can line up in multiple different spots. I personally don't think he gives the Eagles what they really need if they have A.J. Brown, which is a true slot wide receiver. I mean, he can be a vertical slot, but you want a slot who can do a little run block. He can catch the ball so you can be in your 11 personnel without giving away too many tells. I still think they need that. But he's obviously if you look at the guys that the Eagles have had as number 3 receivers, Jahan Dotson, they gave up a 3rd-round pick for him. He had, at the end of the day, what do you have, 30 catches as an Eagle? I mean, it's not worth a 3rd-round pick. We said that when it happened. I get that they won a Super Bowl. I get he made some impressive plays in the Super Bowl, but there were a bunch of free agent receivers you could have gotten without giving up a 3rd-round pick who probably could have given you the same production on a 1-year contract each of the last 2 years.
So does this move then say that he's not a good fit with the current complement of receivers, and this was more of a move in the event that A.J. Brown is not here?
No, the point I was going to make was that, if you look at their number 3 receivers and not slot, I just mean a number 3 receiver. It's usually your first guy off the bench to play the outside, right? Whether it was Jahan Dotson, the years before that, it was, they tried to sign Devontae Parker and he wound up retiring. They gave John Ross a try. They gave who was the other guy that they brought out of retirement, or Paris Campbell a try. I mean, this Marquise Brown is legit. He had a 1,000-yard season. So they have already improved the depth that they've had at that position by a lot over the last few years. Now, if you have A.J. Brown. If you don't have A.J. Brown, now you're asking him to be your one of your top 2 wide receivers, depending on what you do going forward. And that's a little bit of a miscast role for him. I mean, it's still a good guy to have, but it's a miscast role for him.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown obviously probably he gives them a little speed, the ability to kind of stretch the field, something they really haven't had a whole heck of a lot of in that third receiver role. And don't forget, Johnny Wilson missed last year. He was kind of the guy that blocked in that role, so maybe he's a guy that is in there as a blocking guy. You have Hollywood Brown who can stretch the field. Does any of this, the Waddle trade, the Brown deal, change anything with A.J. Brown in your mind?
Not really. Nope, we're just in a holding pattern here and seeing what's going to – the draft will happen, and then June 1st will happen, and then training camp will happen. So it's a long time between – because the Eagles don't need picks for this year, so they don't have to trade them.
All right, so let's talk about that real fast. I'm glad you brought that up because I brought this up earlier. The Eagles go into this season with Super Bowl aspirations, correct?
Correct.
If you trade A.J. Brown – and don't get anything back to help this year's team, do you still have the same aspirations losing a player of that magnitude?
I mean, they will, but I would think that they will make counter moves to make sure that they're still well stocked at that position. It's not a great argument that I'm about to make. It's not apples to apples. I've already made this argument before and gotten blowback on it, but I just want people to understand that there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? When the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, not the one against the Eagles, their second one, right?
Mm-hmm.
They went and they traded Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins after that. And that didn't make them a better team per se, but they still won the Super Bowl again over the Eagles, right? For their third one, because they were better all around and they were able to compensate for it. Now, the blowback I get is, you can do that when you have Patrick Mahomes. I get it. I get that Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, but maybe not as transcendent to where you just put anybody out there with him and expect him to win the Super Bowl. But what I would say is that the GM is not an idiot. I mean, he knows that if he trades A.J. Brown, that there's going to be some extensive work to be done to be able to replace that, and he'll be aggressive. The only thing I'll say at this point is where Howie's really going to be challenged here, if he trades A.J. Brown or even if he doesn't, right, is right now you have no edge rusher of a Jalen Phillips capability that you look, they were going to pay him like $25 million in the year in that neighborhood, right? They're not paying anybody else $25 million on the edges, and no one's available on free agent that's worth that. So we've talked about the trade market, right? Maybe Jonathan Grenard, but it's not like there's like 5 guys though. Like if you don't get Grenard, what do you do, right? So that, and then if you do wind up trading A.J. Brown, you got a lot of work to do to your point, to be that Super Bowl contender.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I feel like if you make a trade and it's like, the picks next year, but you're doing nothing then to improve the team right now, and you're giving up a player that is a huge part of helping you win a Super Bowl now. So if you move him, you're hoping that you get something to help the team now as opposed to in the draft next year. Because I don't think the Eagles want to kick one season away.
No, that's true. But remember, it's not like Howie woke up one day and said, I just feel like moving A.J. Brown. This is all the result of an unhappy receiver who is, obviously allowed that to impact his play, who I imagine would like to prefer to be elsewhere. I mean, when a guy wants to be somewhere else, whether his name is Carson Wentz or Hassan Reddick or so be it, it usually winds up that guy is somewhere else.
Okay, let's talk about this Tanner McKee stuff. So I'm away, I'm kind of paying attention to stuff, but not full force. And somebody said the Eagles just traded for Andy Dalton. I was like, what? So the Eagles trade for Andy Dalton. Doesn't really fit the mold all that much, but a veteran quarterback who has started. What's the messaging in your mind when you see that deal happens? And then Rich Cimini, a very well-respected reporter who covers the Jets, said the Jets were told it's going to be a second-round pick for McKee. So are they trying to move McKee in hopes that to get a second-round pick, or is it McKee's here and Dalton is just the Sam Howell?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of that. The second, I mean, they're not trying to move McKee, but, you've seen it happen. We're going to go into the draft. It's not a great quarterback draft. So some team's going to come out of this draft thinking, I didn't really get what I wanted at quarterback. I was hoping to maybe get Ty Simpson. I didn't, or, Garrett Nussmeier. I didn't. Okay. And then we're going to have training camp, right? OTAs and training. And then a quarterback's going to get hurt. It always happens, right? So there's a real possibility that someone is still going to call the Eagles at some point between now and the opener of the season. And circumstances may say that team is going to offer what the Eagles would be looking for, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, and the Eagles do this really well, this is why I credit Howie, is they always have contingency plans ready. Now, it's a little bit weird to have Andy Dalton as your third, given all that he's accomplished in the league, and a little bit higher of a salary. We'll see if that gets changed. The Eagles acquire guys. Sometimes they do something with the salary to make it different. So we'll see what that is. But it certainly gives them the insurance to have a guy to be the number 2 in case they do lose McKee. And I'm sure they'd like to draft a quarterback anyway, but that guy might not be ready like Kyle McCord wasn't. Or he might make the team unlike Kyle McCord, but still just not be ready to go win games.
All right, there you go. Dameon Pierce is here. Now, at first you would say, man, this guy almost had 1,000 yards a couple of years ago. Like, I've been sucked in by the, Rashad Penny's great, numbers in Seattle, A.J. Dillon. This one I'm not all that excited about. Do you see a role for Dameon Pierce, or is this the classic, hey, we got Devin White, woohoo, look at this move, big-name player who essentially has no role?
I mean, we can't even put Dameon Pierce and Devin White. I mean, Devin White was at least an all-pro and a first-round pick. Dameon Pierce had one nice season as a day 3 pick. And no, I'm not really excited about it. No disrespect to Dameon Pierce. He's a between the tackles, pound it, a rock runner, and they're about to sort of introduce an offense that's a little bit different schematically. As a person who I spoke to in the league kind of cracked, it's best available Gator for Howie, who loves his Florida guys, because Howie went there. So for whatever reason, Mike, and you just pointed this out, and I don't understand it. The Eagles have kept 4 running backs for the last few years, even though the 4th running back has collected dust. I mean, A.J. Dillon, they had so many reasons as they're picking up players, especially cornerbacks, right, left and right throughout the season, and to figure out a way that A.J. Dillon did not need to be on the 53-man roster. But there he was all year long, even though Barkley and Bigsby and Shipley were the guys, right? And you remember the Rashad Penny year, same thing. He just sat there and collected dust. So for whatever reason, they like to have 4 running backs. So you've got Bigsby, you got Barkley, you got Shipley. Maybe there's a shot that Pierce sticks. I'd be surprised, but they've surprised me before.
I agree. I'm not going to let this Dameon Pierce thing make me feel like, wow, there's a guy that can throw the ball to or do. No, he's, to me, just A.J. Dillon, big guy, probably doesn't touch the ball once all season long. Yeah. Marcus Epps is back. Would you say that Epps and Makuba will be your starting safety tandem?
No, I'll say it could be your starting safety tandem. This is another thing, by the way. This is a fascinating offseason, only because the Eagles have made a lot of good moves and they're doing what they normally do, but we had the discussion about edge, like really lacking the star that they expect to have there. We're having the discussion of wide receiver and safety. I thought Sidney Brown would get traded. I just thought it would happen at the end of camp when everybody's like kind of, well, I'm going to wind up cutting this guy. You're going to wind up cutting that guy. Let's do like one of these you're a guy for my guy deals. But he doesn't even make it that far. And yes, you bring back Epps. You sign JT Gray, who's really just a special teams player. He makes up for what Sidney Brown gives you on special teams. But right now you're looking at the safety spot, and it's Andrew Makuba. It's Michael Carter II will get some rep go there. Marcus Epps. Those are the only 3 guys Andre Sam, who's never really, played meaningful downs in the NFL. So this is yet another position where you're just wondering, like, can Howie keep spinning it and making, spinning the wheel and making magic happen when he's got deficiencies at several spots on the roster?
Yeah, that one to me is interesting. You said, yes, it could be. And, yeah, I mean, unless you think you draft a safety and play Makuba and a rookie, That
I
seems
did
a
joke
little.
on the podcast today that if you trade AJ Brown, you take some of that compensation and you package it with your first round pick. You move up, you get Caleb Downs. Nobody's upset.
That would be a far-fetched scenario, but I guess it's a possibility.
Sure,
And maybe they make a trade. The other, so basically, I mean, all this stuff is kind of leading up to the draft, which is now a month out. Has anything that has happened in the this last free agency period, which opened 2 weeks ago, changed the draft outlook for you at all, or nothing they have done in this free agency will change their draft strategy?
Well, this is going to sort of be the repetitive part of our conversation. The Eagles have always done a good job of draft proofing the roster, having enough bodies that they feel confident in to start at positions that they might be deficient, while they let they can just go ahead and draft the best players, right? But can you go into the draft with no answer as a starting edge, right? No, can you trade AJ Brown, and can you not have a safety and then tell me you're not going to reach at those 3 spots in the draft? That's hard to imagine. So that's why I'm not sitting here saying how he's lost his touch. I think between now and the draft, we're certainly going to see something significantly done to make sure that the roster is more draft proof. But if it's not, if you and I are having this conversation on a Wednesday, right? Like we always talk on Monday and Wednesday, and the draft is on Thursday, and this is basically what the roster they have looks like, then it's going to be an interesting conversation that we're going to have.
That, and by the way, they also traded Sidney Brown away, and they basically moved up a couple spots in the draft. So obviously, you're doing that with the thought of, hey, a couple spots up could help me make a trade and move a couple spots someplace else or get somebody else here. Who knows? Yeah. But Sidney Brown is a safety who they obviously, and Adam's been saying for years, or the last all year, that they don't view him as a safety. They view him as a special teams player. So he was not in their safety plans either.
What are the Falcons thinking, by the way? What are the Falcons thinking? Like, what do they see in Sidney Brown that they're going to – I know it's not that they're giving up a lot, but they don't have that many draft picks. This is a guy the Eagles will probably wind up cutting at the end of training camp. Like, what is so important about Sidney Brown to them that they had to even do pick swaps?
I was saying the same thing. I said, are they really giving you two? I mean, one's a 6th-round move up, but the other one's a 4th-round move up, which, could become something. But to move from, 122 to 117, it doesn't seem all that much. But those 4 spots or 5 spots could be the move that says, hey, can we use this one? And because they got a bunch of middle-round picks there.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point is why give up anything? You sign a guy who's probably going to be available at some point and really only can guarantee to help you on special teams. I don't know, kind of mystified.
Yeah. All right, Geoff Mosher, the Inside the Birds podcast. A lot of people watching on YouTube right now, of course, know Geoff. He is, of course, with us on Mondays and Wednesdays. Adam will be here tomorrow. Andrew DeCecco on Thursday. Adam is back on Friday, all off season. We're getting ready for the draft now. We are 1 month to the day to the NFL draft. Now it gets interesting because of the McKee stuff. That one perked my interest. The McKee thing now becomes very interesting to me because you said it. Not a great quarterback class, and everybody loves to find that guy they can get on the cheap, meaning pay-wise. So if they feel like they can get Tanner McKee at that price, the Eagles may be able to get another interesting pick here. So that's something that definitely I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah. You missed some good basketball, local basketball here over the weekend, bud.
I saw you were at the UConn. Were you there last night?
I was covering it for Philly Voice both nights, Friday and Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
it was a great time. First one for me. I've covered everything, basically every single major sporting event except for an NCAA tournament until this weekend. So check that off my list.
Well, it's funny because the games were also in Tampa, and
right.
I didn't go to the games, but I did see that the game last night in Tampa was like a 10-15 start.
Man, the UConn game against Furman on Friday night wound up starting around 10:30 because, it's the 4th of 4 games and a couple games are slow or going to overtime, and that was kind of brutal. That was really brutal.
Yeah. Well, I watched pretty much every game. Now, I don't remember some of the endings, but
No,
Now,
it's just good to see college basketball, good college basketball back
Yeah.
in at the XMA.
Awesome. I've never been to a college basketball NCAA game in Philly. I've been to one in Tampa. When West Virginia played Kentucky in Tampa, it's like 2011 or something. I went to the games in Tampa, had a blast watching those games. I was at the MAC here in Atlantic City, so I'm all college basketballed up, man. I'm not missing anything. I was at the Phillies game Friday. I saw Scooble and Sanchez. I mean, I'm living it up. I'm having some sports fun right now.
That's wait, Matt. Was it the MAC or Mac?
The MAC. It was Jerry McNamara.
Yeah, I was gonna say Siena represented well. They went out and played Duke a really good game.
They did, and it's funny because the last couple of years you had Pitino coaching Iona. He ended up at St. John's, and now McNamara, who coached Siena, he's now at Syracuse.
Yep.
This is a hotbed for Big East coaches.
Definitely a hotbed there.
Yeah. All right, man. We will catch up on Wednesday.
All right, brother. See you.
All right. Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Geoff Mosher, of course, and the team at InsideTheBirds.com and the Inside the Birds podcast do an excellent job on all the Eagles coverage you need for the offseason. We got you here on the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. And, of course, you can watch the show live now on the 97.3 ESPN YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search 973 ESPN. You can watch that on your phone, your smart TV, or your devices. What do we got coming up? We've got Phillies opening day Thursday. Our Phillies opening day watch party is at the Anchorage. Now, we were at the Anchorage for 99 bottles. We were just talking about this morning. We were at the Anchorage at 99 bottles a couple of years ago. What a great time we had. We had an awesome crowd there. It was mobbed in that place. I anticipate Phillies opening day, Phillies gear, great spot at the Anchorage. I hope we have a better crowd than 99 bottles. We're giving away a trip to Camden Yards, and you could be there. You want to enter? Text the word Phillies right now to 609-403-0973. First 5 text messages with the word Phillies, we will pick and reach out to you and let you know that you've been entered. We got a lot of text messages the last time. We're giving you another shot right now. We're giving out some extra bonus chances today because we were off last week. Josh was off Thursday and Friday. I was off Thursday and Friday. So we missed a couple days of entering people. So we don't want people to not get that chance. So we're going to enter right now, 609-403-0973. Text the word Phillies. First 5 text messages we get, we will contact those people and let you know what you need to do. American singer-songwriter Lenny Kravitz takes the stage at Ovation Hall Saturday, May 16th. One of the most prominent rock musicians of our time, Lenny Kravitz. Don't miss him live at the Ocean. Get your tickets now. TheOceanAC.com. More Sports Bash on the way. The Nuggets. Nicky Earnshaw's back with Nick's Nuggets for today. It's next right here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. All right, 4:33. We're back. The Nuggets are back. The Phillies are back on Thursday. Want to congratulate our most recent qualifiers, Bill and Epsic and Eric and EHT. And if the people who texted in, Josh is connecting with those people right now. We're going to be at the Anchorage in Summers Point Thursday, opening day, Phillies watch party. The Nuggets will be there live on location. Come on out and see the Nuggets with another edition of Nick Nuggets right now on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Earnshaw is in the house. I wasn't here last week, so he's been here. I wasn't, but I actually took the days off. I wasn't sick.
You weren't sick. You were just having a good time. Good old grand time. That's what you were doing. You were laid up in bed like I was.
What are you talking about? I was working. I was there watching Cristopher Sanchez against Skubal.
I saw you in cheap seats on beaches, having pops, adult beverages. Must have been a great time. Must have been a great time.
I went to the Phillies game. I saw
Did you take notes?
Schwarber, Harper. What's that?
Did you take any notes while you were out there?
Yeah. I said, okay, here was my take. I'm going to see what your take is because I have no idea what your take was. I was more impressed by Harper coming through against Skubal in the spring training game than I was hitting the 2-run homer in the World Baseball joke the other night.
I listened to your open today. I caught your open, and you're ripping the WBC. The WBC was outstanding this time around. It was fantastic. It was great baseball. And you're poo-pooing Harper's home run. Okay, he didn't face someone who's like a top-tier level pitcher. Great. Who cares? The entire offensive lineup for the USA couldn't hit anybody for Venezuela. It was great. It was a great moment. It was a great moment.
It was fun, but I was more impressed that he got a hit off a lefty that won the Cy Young last year than a tomato can who hasn't pitched in the majors in 3 years.
Championship game in a game that doesn't matter or a spring training game that doesn't matter. I mean, which one? Which one?
Well, and that's my point. The championship game that doesn't matter, and then it was proven that it doesn't matter because you can't pitch anybody because the teams won't let you pitch anybody. And then Venezuela doesn't even have their best players there because they couldn't get insurance. So let me ask you a question. If that was a real game with something real on the line, do you
But what are the Olympics? What are the Olympics? I'm
not into the Olympics. I don't care about that either.
So you just don't want to see international baseball ever? Not ever.
No, I have no problem. Like, hey, it's a March game. It's at night. But I didn't say anything about that. My point was, I was more impressed by Harper getting the hit off Skubal, a lefty, with runners on base, than I was him hitting a home run off a complete joke of a pitcher.
So you're telling me that the iconic home run from Bryce Harper on Team USA in the World Baseball Classic with a sold-out crowd in Miami, people going nuts, highest rated ever WBC in a big moment, 8th inning for Team USA. That didn't get you excited? That wasn't more enjoyable to you than a spring training home run off Skubal?
It wasn't even a home run. He just got a base hit the other way with runners on base, but it was a lefty-lefty matchup against a guy who's probably the best pitcher in baseball.
So just getting a base hit off Skubal in a spring training game was more enjoyable to you.
I didn't say it was more enjoyable. I said I was more impressed.
It's a big moment. Aaron Judge faltered in big moments. Bryce Harper did not. And he didn't hit well throughout the entire WBC.
And my point is, let me ask you this question then, okay? It's the bottom of the 8th of a playoff game. Like a real playoff game. I'm
not Aaron Judge over here saying it's bigger than the World Series, all right? I'm not saying that.
Okay, well, bear with me here. It's the bottom of the 8th of a 2-0 game, and we're in the World Series. Do you think any team within their right mind is throwing a right-handed pitcher that hasn't pitched in the game in 3 years to face Bryce Harper in that situation? Do you think he will ever see that situation?
I mean, you had Vance Worley pitching, for goodness sake, in the WBC. I mean, this is what the WBC is.
You're making my point.
But you're telling me you didn't enjoy it? I'm just saying that you didn't enjoy it. Like, you just didn't enjoy it?
I didn't say that. I said I enjoyed the thing, but I was more impressed by getting a base hit off Skubal was more impressive than a right-handed tomato can, is what I said.
No, I think in the moment, I'm more impressed with the circumstances surrounding the WBC. Okay, you're in the 8th inning, your team's down. They have your number. They have everybody's number throughout the entirety of the lineup, and he decides to come through. I think that's more impressive to me because of the moment, and the game matters more than spring trading.
Okay, I said I would have been more impressed if in that moment Venezuela had, let's say, Jose Alvarado, a lefty with major league experience.
I heard you say that earlier.
Let's say he was pitching in that moment and Harper hit one off of him. Then I would say, now that I was impressed by. That's a left-handed pitcher who's got playoff experience, who I could be impressed by. The guy who he hit the home run against was like the equivalent of Philippe Almont.
I heard that one earlier too. It's okay. You don't have to like the WBC. It's fine. I thought it was an impressive moment because no one else could hit. No one else throughout that lineup could hit but Harper. If it was anyone else, we wouldn't be talking about it right now.
Listen, just because everybody else didn't hit doesn't make it any different. The whole thing, and here's my point, like the WBC, it's not like the United States is not a country that is that's not what we cheer for. Like these international tournaments are not.
It meant something to those guys, though. Like you saw Schwarber taking the medal right off. I mean, they were all
Harper with the pandering and crossing third and hitting the. Come on, dude. They just don't care.
No, I think they cared this time, especially coming off of that hockey gold medal. It meant something. You saw them all wearing the hockey jersey, walking in to the stadium that day. It meant a little bit more this time around because you had the momentum from the Olympics coming into it. I understand it's just a tournament, but you're playing for your country and you don't get the chance to in the Olympics. So this is what they have in baseball. It's the WBC. The professionals don't play in the Olympics. This is what you got. And I think it meant something to those guys to put USA across their chest. You're playing for pride in your country. It's not necessarily the World Series, etc., but you're playing for pride in your country.
I understand, and my point has always kind of been, it's a shame. I like the concept. I like the idea. These teams are so watered down. They're not real teams. I mean, Venezuela is missing half their guys because they couldn't get the right insurance. That's a joke.
I know. There was like Tarek Skubal flying back, to be in the dugout. There's some things that I think need to fix for next time.
Tarek Skubal, by the way, Mason Miller, he couldn't pitch unless they had the lead. Hey, dummy, you weren't going to get the lead. You were the home team.
I know. Listen, there's certain things regarding the WBC I would like to see rectified. But overall, I think this year was great. I think the baseball was fantastic. It was higher level baseball, and people were into it, and the players seemed into it if their teams weren't telling them they couldn't pitch or something.
I haven't disagreed with you one iota on that. My point has been the level
you weren't impressed.
That Harper hit the home run off of. I was not that impressed is my point.
I think the moment to me is more impressive to come up in the moment. Yeah, I understand, the pitcher, it wasn't that good of a pitcher, fine. The moment, that's what matters. And he came up like he's supposed to. He came up with a big hit.
Well, by the way, I was at the game on Friday, Harper's first at bat. Phillies fans gave him a nice cheer. Aaron Judge got booed by the Yankees fans.
Well, he deserved it. Guy always comes up small in the biggest
moment. So
moment.
would the Phillies fans have booed Harper had he come up small there?
They should have, because he had a horrible WBC. He was horrible throughout the entire WBC. That is his one moment. His calling card is that moment.
And I'll add this. This is why the WBC to me also, Buckus. Trey Turner, you would have thought was going to win the MVP of the league after that WBC he had. You know why he had such a good WBC? Because the pitchers all stink.
That was then. This is now. They're better. They were better.
What was the guy's name from Washington? He pitched for the Nationals, is where he last pitched 5 years ago. The pitcher for Venezuela.
Dude, I couldn't even tell you. Couldn't even remember his name.
Exactly.
Didn't matter. I just saw Harper.
I'll tell you where you can catch him soon enough. Probably for the Trenton Thunder.
Well, I'll tell you, they had Vance Worley literally pitching in this WBC. A guy's
Philippe Almont pitched in the tournament.
They're trying to find guys from all these countries to fill out rosters. It's just how it goes.
Listen, again, I like the concept. They got some of these teams, they just need to make it 8 teams, make it an 8-team thing, do something a little bit different, like with just the best 8 teams.
Or maybe take a couple weeks off and get into the Olympics. Just a thought. Would love to see it.
Sure. No problem.
All right. We have a couple minutes for Nuggets, I guess. We have a couple minutes here. I knew as soon as I was going to come on, I was going to bring up the WBC. But you invoked it. You invoked the WBC discussion. I love it. You're just whatever. I understand. I enjoy it. All right, here we go. Nugget number 1. You know what I don't enjoy? Jared McCain playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He returns tonight. What are they? 15.5-point favorites, 16-point favorites, somewhere around there. I know it's moved a little bit throughout the day. Jared McCain returning tonight. A couple of nuggets on him since he got traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's had 12 double-digit games for the Thunder, 44% from 3, 12.3 points per game, and he has the most points off the bench since the deadline for players averaging under 20 minutes per game. So he is scoring at a high rate. He is doing everything he needs to do for the Thunder since they acquired him. Apparently, the 76ers are going to have a tribute video for him. Come on. I love Jared McCain. That he does not deserve a tribute video. Maybe it's you poke the bear at management a little bit. That'd be funny. But overall, no tribute video.
Yeah, I listen. There's been nobody more critical of the Sixers for this McCain thing. You don't need to give him a thing. You don't need any more attention to be drawn. Now, what they're trying to do is to get the fans to cheer for him so that they don't get the attention on them. Because I'm telling you what, McCain tonight, I think Oklahoma City is going to let him go out there and cook.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's going to play over 20 minutes tonight. That's for sure. I think that's going to happen tonight. I would say he has over 25 points tonight. I think that would be a good.
His last game the other night, I think he had 26 points in 29 minutes. He had 5 threes in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've kind of gone down each single game as he's gone through here. Listen, he's been unbelievable for them, and I can't wait. I want to see the masterclass of getting that guy open on the 3-point line. That's what I want to see.
Listen, I'm glad you brought that up because I think all night long they're going to be running him off screens and all around. And somebody's going to have to chase him all over the place all night long.
I hope so. I hope. And people on social media, you go too far saying that you want to see him have a big game. When people are saying they want to have a big game, they want to see him dominate the Sixers, and then some people are saying, "Oh, you're going too far." I want to see him absolutely dominate tonight because you don't have Embiid, you don't have Paul George, you don't have all your guys. Maxi's still out, the whole 9. Oubre's out too. So I mean, listen, McCain, show why you shouldn't have been traded and why this will be a mistake for years to come. Because this is how do you trade a first-round pick? It grinds my gears and rubs me the wrong way. Every time on my timeline, I got to see Jared McCain running these give and goes, these options, these coming off screens, running all over the place, finding the open look. It's just unbelievable how they have been so creative with this guy, and the Sixers had to send him down to your Blue Coats. They had to send him down to the Blue Coats to try and get his feet under him. The guy's been unbelievable since he went to Oklahoma City.
Speaking of the Blue Coats, I was watching the game the other night, and I heard Kate Scott say, and Kennedy Chandler has 13. And I said, the Sixers called Kennedy Chandler up? What is going on?
The Jazz signed
him for Utah.
Yeah, the Jazz signed him from the G League for that game, which was hilarious.
Right. He's playing for the Blue Coats all season long. He's been the Blue Coats' best player, basically. And the next night, he signs a 10-day to go to Utah to play, and he's cooking against his team that's been employing him all season long.
Yeah, that's what happens. They just leave the Sixers. And you know what I love? When it's a give and go with Isaiah Joe and Jared McCain. That's even better. That's the best one when I see that on my timeline.
By the way, I got Blue Coats calls Friday night and Saturday night, so I got 2 coming up this week.
There you go. How about that?
Yeah.
No Kennedy Chandler, obviously, for you.
No, I don't think his 10-day will be up.
It will not be up. So he'll still be out there in Utah.
Now, does he come back here after the 10 days up? I guess if they don't bring him back.
Yeah, if they don't extend it. So.
By the way, for those of you Beauchamp, who played the other night, he plays mostly for the Bluecoats. I've caught a lot of his games too. I like Beauchamp a lot. If he can start getting consistent with his shot, he's an athlete.
When I was interning for the Bluecoats, Beauchamp was on the G League Ignite when they were a thing. And I liked him then too. So there's that. All right. Before I get out of here, I do want to get this in because I think it's fascinating. I'm going to break a promise. I know I promised not to, bring up lists anymore, but I thought this one was interesting from Bleacher Report. I don't know if you saw this, Mike, on the TL, but Bleacher Report came out with a top 15 pure score list in the NBA of all time. And you want to know what the top 5 was?
I'm interested.
Steph Curry 1, Kevin Durant 2, Michael Jordan 3, Joel Embiid 4, and LeBron James 5.
So I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast, and they were talking about the Bam Adebayo 83-point night, and they were asking which current players could they see that have it in them to have a night like that. And one of the guys they mentioned was Joel, actually, in that basically if he plays 35 minutes, he scores 30. Like, he's a point-a-minute guy almost.
Yeah.
But he did score 71 game. But they were talking about what you would have to do to, you would have to hit 14 threes or something like that. Like, it was a crazy amount of things. And I don't see Joel. The problem with Joel getting 83 is I don't see him hitting the amount of threes that you would have to make.
Yeah, well, they gave him the number 4 spot. They wrote, Joel Embiid has averaged over 30 points in 3 different seasons. He has 2 scoring titles over the last 5 seasons. His minutes per game have barely outpaced his points. They also went on to say Embiid's precision as a mid-range jump shooter defies traditional notions of what centers can do. His simple jab step leading into that jumper is a difficult shot to handle as about any other move in the league. His footwork in the post is impeccable.
Yeah,
there you go.
He would have to go on a complete. And by the way, Joel, the one thing he could do is get to the line 40 times like Bam did.
Yeah, and they noted that, like, we took into account if you got to the line a lot, and we're like a foul merchant, but they said everything else about his game is just ridiculous. So there you go, Bleacher Report. Right. Number 4 pure score ever.
I don't know about that, but interesting list there. The one fun thing they did, and you just brought it up, they called it like a dream, fever dream or something, like game that you've been to where the guy, like if you were at the Bam Adebayo game, like you would wake up like in a fever dream, like, wait, Bam Adebayo just scored 83. Like, what game were you at where the player that you watched had that game? Now, you just said 70 points. Well, you were there that night?
Yeah, I was there that night. I went on a whim with a buddy. We bought nosebleed tickets, was up there, saw 70 points, and cook Wembanyama. Cook him.
Yeah, I was at the game. It was in Philly, but it was the Process Sixers played the Bulls when Jimmy Butler had like 55 against the Sixers. Yeah,
unbelievable. Yeah,
but I don't know if that would be my number 1. I'd have to check that back out. But there you go. We'll leave you with that.
There you go, Mike. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, there you go. There are the Nuggets for today here on the Sports Bash Live 97.3 ESPN. And don't forget, Nuggets will be with us at the Anchorage in Summers Point, so stop out and see us live there on Thursday. Another chance for you to enter is coming up right now. We're taking 2 right now, caller 7 and caller 8 at 609-573-3776. Caller 7 and caller 8. You are entered for this year's chance to go see the Phillies play the Orioles in Baltimore at Camden Yards. The winner will receive a pair of tickets lower level to the game, round trip transportation to and from Camden Yards from Philadelphia. You'll get lunch on the way down and a chance to walk around and hang out in Baltimore's Inner Harbor before the game. You must be present to win at the Anchorage in Summers Point this Thursday for our Phillies opening day watch party. The first pitch is at 4:10. We'll see you there. Caller 7 and caller 8. Good luck. All right, 5 o'clock drive home. What's going on, everybody? Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Hey, Nicole in Ocean City, congratulations. Zach in Dennis Township, congratulations. You guys have a shot now to win a trip to Baltimore to see the Phillies play the Orioles at Camden Yards. Awesome, awesome stadium, as many people know. You never been to Camden Yards? Well, here's your opportunity. Couple more chances today on the show. We'll be live at the Anchorage in Summers Point on Thursday for our Phillies opening day watch party. Stop out. We'll have great prizes. The trip to Baltimore will not be it. We'll have other great prizes to give away all day long as well. So come out, win prizes, wear your Phillies gear. Phillies and the Rangers opening day. Phils lose today for the last game of spring training. They had their regular lineup today, though, it looks like anyway. And that lineup for the day, which will probably be their opening day lineup because they are facing Nathan Eovaldi, a right-handed pitcher. So you would get all the left-handed hitters in the lineup. You had Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Bohm, Stott, Garcia, Marsh, Real Muto, and Justin Crawford hitting in the 9-hole. So that looks like your Phillies opening day lineup. In fact, Rob Thompson did say after the game that will likely be the lineup for the game against the Rangers on Thursday. It's a 4:10 start, by the way. Some news on the Phils in terms of Zach Wheeler. So Wheeler threw a simulated inning or two today, 27 pitches, and he is actually going to make a rehab start on Saturday in Lehigh Valley. So I got to imagine that Zach Wheeler is going to be back here pretty soon. Like, he is getting close to getting ready to pitch. So you're going to have a rotation of the runner-up in the Cy Young Award, Cristopher Sanchez, on opening day. Nola's pitching game 2. Luzardo will pitch game 3. You will get Taijuan Walker in game 4. You'll get Andrew Painter in game 5. I got to imagine. Let me look at the first group of Phillies games here real quick. So their first 6 games are all at home. And they've already got their rotation set for those 6. After that, where's the next spot on the thing where so after Painter on Wednesday, I would guess Sanchez. They have a day off on Thursday, which would be Friday. I mean, you could have a situation where he pitches on Friday, Wheeler. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case, but if he pitches – actually, no, he's pitching Saturday. Yeah, Saturday would get him back on because that's Nola's spot. And he's pitching the same day that Nola is pitching. Right? Am I right about that? Josh, let's take a look at this. So Nola's pitching Saturday in Philly when Wheeler is pitching Saturday in Lehigh.
Correct.
All right. So that to me would be the first opportunity would be for him to pitch on Friday in Colorado.
Do you want him to pitch at Colorado, though?
The hell do I care?
We should care about his health.
Well, if he's cleared and ready to go. I mean, I thought you were talking about because of the ballpark and that. I mean, the altitude.
The altitude.
Maybe with what he went with.
Exactly.
But do I want him to pitch in Colorado? If they clear him, sure. If he's not cleared because of that, I can understand. But I thought you were saying, do you really want him to pitch in Colorado because of
No, the Rockies stink.
the whole, like, giving up, like, home runs and that kind of stuff? I'm not looking at it from a competitive standpoint.
I was curious about
By the way, the funny part is Michael Lorenzen is the pitcher in that game for Colorado. They've
I
already
see that,
announced.
yeah.
But
how does Colorado really have the rotation out like 2 weeks ahead of time?
well, I mean, the Phillies probably. Well, maybe they don't because of Wheeler. That's why I'm saying because some of these teams, blah blah 1 2 3 1 2 3, 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5.
Sure.
But the Phillies thing matches up where Nola pitches Saturday and so is Wheeler. And then they have a day off on Thursday, which means Friday would be Nola's second start. But you can have Wheeler go there. Then you could keep Luzardo on Saturday, then maybe Nola goes Sunday, and then Painter would go there. The next opportunity for a day off is the following Thursday. So if you kept everything rolling the same 5 guys in a row, it would be Painter on Tuesday, Sanchez on Wednesday. There's a day off Thursday. Then Nola would go Friday, Luzardo Saturday, Walker Sunday, Painter would be the next game Monday, and then you have another opportunity for Wheeler to come back. But you have 3 off days in April, bang, bang, bang. Every Thursday they're off. I got to imagine he's going to be back in one of those spots. And I think it would probably be in Nola's spot, and then Nola jumps behind Luzardo and goes into the Walker spot. That's what I would think.
So my couple things are, one, what do you think about the theory out there that they could go with a 6-man rotation because Wheeler might not be able to ready to go 5-6 innings yet?
If he can't, then yes. Otherwise, Wheeler does not like being in a 6-man rotation. He's been very vocal about that.
Right. But he's only going to pitch 3 innings on Saturday. So,
yeah, but I would imagine, like most times in spring training, he pitched today. He threw 2 innings, correct?
Right.
Then he'll pitch 3 on Saturday. Maybe he has 1 more.
So if he has 1 more rehab start, that pushes back the road trip, and maybe then he comes back that first day back home, Friday the 10th.
Yeah, so I wouldn't think that he's on like a restriction where he can't pitch, more than 3 innings. I would think if he's back, he would be back.
Because you could theoretically just go with the 5 you have for the first 10 games, and then say, okay, Wheeler, you're back. And then just bump everyone back a day, and then tell Walker to just go to the bullpen and,
Yeah, because I think, and they have not announced this yet, I think Wheeler will replace Taijuan Walker.
Correct.
Walker will go to the bullpen.
That's the logical thing.
But I think he will slide behind Sanchez, and Nola will bounce behind Luzardo. Because you do have an off day in there to kind of fit him in, and then get Nola back a couple days. The way that it works out. You do have the opportunity to bounce him behind because you're off on that Thursday. And listen, the way I'm looking at Wheeler throw right now, I imagine he could probably pitch here on Saturday if they wanted him to.
I know this might be me hyper-analyzing, but he did make a comment today where he says that he wants to gain about 10 more pounds so he feels a little more comfortable. So is there a possibility that maybe part of him going through the rehab assignment is maybe him getting back to whatever the healthy weight he feels he's comfortable at?
And maybe he's saying, listen, I'm not quite ready yet.
Right. So maybe it's less about the little innings that I'm talking about, and maybe it's more about just, hey, this is a pitcher who knows his body better than anybody.
It just has felt like the last couple weeks here, he threw down there, and it was like he's ahead of schedule, he's throwing, and then once you're up on that mound, I feel like he's like, okay, I really don't need to go through all this. You guys are really kind of, but I think he's going through it cautiously with him because.
Well, it's also what he says. Like, I go by more what he says than anything, because if he's saying, hey, I'm getting there, I'm progressing, I'm not exactly where I want to be, then that tells me more than what the Phillies are going to do. Because, like I said, I think Wheeler, like you would agree, Mike, a guy like Wheeler, he knows his body better than anybody.
No question. Now, if he's ready to pitch, now the Phillies, and Jeff Kerr was on with us earlier, and he said because Wheeler's pitching Saturday at Lehigh Valley, that now they're within like a 30-day window because they're going to, I guess, start him on what list is he going to start the season on? That's what's the interest. I
have to double check the exact term.
Because if he's pitching in Lehigh on Saturday, there is a possibility. Well, he would have to be back within, I think Jeff said 30 days to, and then he would be able to come back and pitch whenever. But long story short, I think he will be ready to pitch by the end of the month here, and I would anticipate before the end of the month.
So according to articles from MLB.com and Philly Voice, he is on the regular injured list. And the way it works is, as you mentioned, with the 30 days, once the first day of the season starts, he has 30 days from that first day, so this Thursday, to get back on the field, or they have to move him to the longer-term injured list.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. My anticipation would be he would be back probably not the first time around the rotation, but probably the second time around the rotation, that each guy would get 2 starts, and then he probably slides into that Taiwan Walker spot.
It's just a question
that
of,
would be.
To me, Mike, it's just a question of, is it on the road in San Francisco or is it home against Arizona, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those series.
So, couple other things. Cristopher Sanchez gets this extension, okay? Now, as I said earlier in the show, I'm not against Cristopher Sanchez getting this extension. I would, if I was to rank my top 5 pitchers in all of baseball right now, I think Cristopher Sanchez might be number 1. Like, I love watching him pitch. The story is just awesome. This guy, think about this. He came from nowhere. I mean, Cristopher Sanchez was a nothing burger. He was just a random trade that they made. Do you even know who he got traded for?
I know it was a trade with Tampa, wasn't it?
He got traded from Tampa to the Phillies. And when they got this guy, it wasn't like, we've got something here. Nobody knew anything about this guy. He is one of the great stories that should be celebrated and discussed more about his whole story. He got traded in 2019 to the Phillies in exchange for Curtis Mead.
Yeah, we all remember him.
Okay? He starts out, and he's just a random bullpen guy. That's all. He's just a random bullpen guy. He has turned into the runner-up for the Cy Young Award. And quite frankly, think about the story for the Phillies. Okay? And I don't know that anybody can come up with something like this. The Phillies have Zach Wheeler and Cristopher Sanchez on the team. Both of them have finished as the runner-up in the Cy Young Award balloting. Neither one of them, when you signed Zach Wheeler from the Mets, nobody thought that that's what you were getting. When you got Cristopher Sanchez from the Rays, nobody thought you were getting the runner-up in the Cy Young Award. You've now got both of these guys basically far exceed anything you thought you were getting from these guys. Think about how lucky the Phillies are that these two guys turned into what they became. Where would they be if these guys were what they were when you got them? Think about that.
They wouldn't be here.
Thanks, Captain Obvious. If they got Cristopher Sanchez that they traded for from the Tampa Bay Rays, I think the Rays, quite frankly, never saw him becoming a major league pitcher, let alone the runner-up for the Cy Young Award. And look, Zach Wheeler was a good pitcher with the Mets. It wasn't like he stunk. But I don't think anybody anticipated that he was going to be a perennial Cy Young candidate and one of the best big-game pitchers of all time. And that's what the Phillies ended up getting. So think about how lucky they are to have gotten these two guys when nobody saw this coming from them. Nobody did. Now, the other guys, Aaron Nola. You know, Nola got drafted in the first round, but the reason they drafted Nola back then, if you remember, is because he was a college pitcher, and they were so bad that they just wanted somebody that was like major league ready. So when they drafted Nola, the anticipation wasn't that he was going to be a top of the rotation pitcher. It was more like, hey, this guy is going to be like a number 3 or number 4 probably at best. He ends up, Nola at one point finished second in the Cy Young Award. How many rotations have 3 guys in the rotation that finish top 2 in the Cy Young balloting? on the same team. Now, Nola has obviously dropped off a bit. Then you add Luzardo, and then I imagine Painter will be the next guy. I don't think Taijuan Walker will be in the rotation for the whole season, but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I don't see that happening. He does make $18 million. He has proven that he has not been very valuable as a bullpen guy. So maybe the Phillies just go with Walker and go Painter back to the minors. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll tell you what. Come playoff time, the Phillies are going to have a very interesting conundrum here. In that, Sanchez is pitching. Wheeler's pitching. What do you do with the other guys? I mean, Luzardo, if he has another, year like he had last year, let's say he has a better year than he had last year. Painter, let's say Painter pitches and hits his potential. And then Nola, who I don't know that anybody really sees Nola pitching out of the bullpen. And let's just say Nola has another Nola season where he's back to being Aaron Nola, whatever you think that is. A solid yet not spectacular pitcher. What does that make this team? What would that make this team? Now, Rob Thompson had made some comments about he thinks this team is better and that they didn't run it back, that they've made changes. We had Jeff Kerr on earlier, and he talked about the fact they have 11 new players on this team. And I said, Thompson has said the team is better than last year. They won 96 games last year. And I actually agree with Thompson. I don't only think they're better than last year, I think they're far better than last year. Now, does that mean they win, 106 games? I don't know about that. But think about this. Just listen to the pitching rotation I put out there. Okay? Sanchez, Wheeler, Luzardo, Painter, Nola. It's pretty good. I don't know if it's the best. It's probably top 5 in baseball. Maybe some people think it's the best. Maybe some people think it's the second, third, fourth best. It's no worse than the 5th best rotation in baseball. All right? The Phillies bullpen, which was a total dumpster fire disaster for the first April, May, June, July of last year. You're talking about 4 months where they were calling on Jordan Romano to close games for them last year. How do you win 96 games with no closer? I mean, at the end of the year, you're looking back and say, how the hell did this team win 96 games with no closer? And by the way, not only did they lose, did they have Jordan Romano closing games, they lost Alvarado and somehow won 96 games. How the hell is that possible? So, just by adding Duran last year and having him close games out for you all season this year, how many games is that good for? How many games extra do you possibly win that you lost because Jordan Romano was closing games out or because, you had Strom or Kerkering try to close games out? I don't know. What's that good for? An extra 3, 4? You tell me, everybody. I don't have that answer for you. Is it 10? Do you win an extra 10 games because it's not Romano closing the game out?
Well, if you win, let's say, 8 to 10 more games, does that make you the 1 seed in the playoffs?
Oh, well, last year, what was the 1 seed? Now, last year, the Dodgers kind of sleptwalked through the season.
Right.
And obviously, you had to play them in the wild card. But if you won 106 games, let's say you won 10 extra games this year, which, I think it's – last year, the number 1 seed was Milwaukee. They won 97 games. So really, last year, by the way, Philadelphia won 96. They were the 2 seed. The Dodgers won 93, and the Cubs won 92. And then the Reds won 83. That was your playoff teams last year, and the Padres won 90. But the Phillies won 1 game less than Milwaukee did last year. Okay, so let's just say instead of 10 more wins, they win 2 more games. Is having Duran as the closer for April, May, June, and July, which they did not have him last year. So for 4 months, is having Brad Keller and Johan Duran worth 2 wins?
Yes.
Okay. I think I agree with you there. I think everybody's got to agree with that.
I think you say it counts for 4 wins.
Okay, 4 wins. Is it worth 10 wins? That's 4 months of having those 2 guys in your bullpen instead of Jordan Romano and whoever else.
And Carlos Hernandez and
yeah.
Whoever else you want to throw in
the
there.
problem with this conversation is I think people might be listening and saying, okay, man, they got a really good rotation. Their bullpen is better. And they might win 10 more games than last year. I still don't think anybody's buying that they're better than the Dodgers or, quite frankly, maybe even anybody else.
Well, because part of the problem is, Mike, the reason why they lost in the playoffs for the last few years, not just last year, the last few years, hasn't been, man, this pitching staff stinks. No, the problem has been.
Well, I will say this.
Yeah.
You're right about, I know where you're going. The lineup has let them down in big playoff moments. However, their bullpen against the Mets in the series the year before was atrocious.
It was.
It was really bad in that Mets series.
Big reason why they let Jeff Hoffman leave.
That was one of the reasons why they gave up on Hoffman. Now, Strom was a problem in the playoffs the year before and then again last year. Alvarado was not there last year. You didn't have him in the playoffs. But their bullpen was a strength of the team 2 years ago. In the Mets series, it was terrible. Now, your offense let you down in that series as well. But you can make an argument that if the bullpen did its job, that you would have won with a lousy offense. Now, that doesn't make you feel any better. I know that. I'm just saying. We all know the offensive shortcomings. But the point being is you can win 10 extra regular season games, and I don't think that's changing anybody's opinion.
No, because, again, people are starting to get the Sixer vibe when it comes to the Phillies. We talked about this last year, Mike, about the fact that if you keep letting people down in the postseason, you're basically the Sixers. You tease us, you make us think we're going to go somewhere, and then when the postseason comes around, you rip our heart out, you stomp on it, and you go home with your money.
Yep, and as James in Delaware asks on the White Horse RV text board, pitching or hitting, what do you think the reason will be for the playoffs lost this season? I would think if you lost again, it's probably because your hitting let you down again, James. I can't imagine we're having a conversation second week of October, teams eliminated, and we said, my gosh, Sanchez pitched poorly, Wheeler pitched poorly, Luzardo was awful, Duran was terrible. I don't think that's going to happen. I think, again, the pressure goes to this lineup. The pressure goes squarely back to a lineup that has continuously let this team down. 609-403-0973. Sports Bash rolls on. Coming up. Now, the Phillies, I want to get some of the odds here. Could Cristopher Sanchez, with his new contract, win a Cy Young? Where is the betting market on Cristopher Sanchez? Plus, what about Schwarber for MVP? These guys were the runners-up last year. What's the value on them? I'll take a look at that. Hey, if you need a new car, check out my friend Rocco over at Key Acura of Atlantic City. He can get you a new 2026 Acura Integra. It is a 36-month lease for $219 a month. And it's an Acura for $219 a month. The offer expires March 31st. So get to Key Acura on Tilton Road in Atlantic City in Egg Harbor Township. Or go to their website to check out the inventory at keyacureofatlanticcity.com. They are the small but friendly dealer. All right, coming up, we'll take a look at some of the odds. We'll read off your text messages. The White Horse RV text board, 609-403-0973. It is the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. 5:33, another chance for you to qualify coming up for a trip to go see the Phillies play the Orioles in Baltimore. Listen for that famous contest sounder to go off. Hey, Atlantic City Restaurant Week is transforming into Taste Atlantic City, presented by Visit AC. Taste of AC will be a month-long culinary celebration happening this March that will be showcasing the city's diverse and vibrant dining scene. The event will be tiered menus, exclusive food-focused experiences for both locals and visitors to savor the best of Atlantic City's flavors. Enjoy the 3-course prefix menus available at Ocean's participating restaurants for only $60. You got Amada. I had dinner at Mata recently. Excellent, by the way. Linguini by the Sea, I've been there before, and Ocean Steak, awesome. All 3 restaurants are worth your time, and a $60 prefix menu, go do it. Book today at theoceanac.com. Anybody seen the Billy Joel documentary on HBO Max? Probably not. I know not you. That's not your style, right?
I don't have HBO Max anymore.
Excellent. I watched it on the plane. First episode on the way there, second episode on the way back last night. Tremendous. Any Billy Joel fan, really good.
The last non-sports documentary I watched was about the Roosevelts. And it was talking about the connective history between Teddy and Franklin. And
no, I would be interested in that. What's platform?
That was, I think, on Prime. I have to double check.
Yeah, if you're a Billy Joel fan, I forget what it's called. Really good, though. Really good. And it's long. I mean, the second episode was, the flight last night was a little over 2.5 hours. It was 2:24 of the show, and I watched it from start to finish.
Is that on HBO Max?
HBO Max, yeah.
Gotcha.
The first, there's 2 episodes. They're both like over 2 hours long. The first one is about, his growing up and his first wife and all the songs and like through the 70s and the 80s.
This is your classic setup, building up to documentary.
And then the second episode is when he meets Christy Brinkley and kind of like his rebirth of,
How many episodes is it?
2.
Oh, just the 2?
Just the 2.
Okay.
Yep. And they're both about 2 hours long. So you need to, find a little time in your day.
Yeah.
It is a little thing, but it was perfect for the flight.
See, the last music what I watched was Dirty Pop.
I did see that one.
On Netflix?
Yeah, about the guy who signed like all the
boy bands.
The boy bands.
Yeah,
Did you see the video with Justin Timberlake that's making the rounds here recently? I guess he must have got a DUI a bunch of years ago.
I saw your boy get in trouble.
Who's that?
The guy from Reacher.
Oh, I saw he got in a fight with his neighbor and kicked the crap out of him or something.
Yeah, the neighbor came out to fight him because he was revving his motor.
Who's coming out to fight Reacher?
That guy.
Did he get his ass kicked?
Yes.
Well, good for him. Good for Reacher.
and then after he beat him up, the guy's still yelling at Alan Richardson. I'm just like, what are you doing?
What happened? Is he in trouble or was he like self-defense or what?
Well, apparently the police were called. They're investigating. But according, if you go by the security camera that was online, basically the guy comes out, yells at him for revving his engine in the neighborhood, and he tries to fight him, and Reacher just puts him down with like 2 shots.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to hurt you, dude, but like you're coming after me. I'm going to have to do something, but I don't want to do something enough to hurt you.
Right.
Yeah. I did see that. Now, the thing with Timberlake, I guess his question was valid. So he got taken in for a DUI, and he said, I guess he was a little I don't know if he was like, is this the way you treat everybody? But he wasn't asking in a way because he was celebrity. They had him handcuffed to the table.
Oh.
Right? He had one hand handcuffed to the table.
Yeah.
Now, I guess every state handles it a little differently.
Okay.
So he was wondering, is it really necessary to handcuff me to the table here? Which I guess is a fair question. But, I mean, he didn't act like a jerk or anything. I don't think so anyway. He was, just – it wasn't like he gave him do you know who I am?
Right. He didn't do that.
No.
Which is – we got to respect them when they don't – you always respect them more when they don't do that.
Well, I haven't seen, apparently the video. They were like, well, what are you doing here? Because it was in Maine maybe or somewhere.
He's on a concert tour.
I'm on tour. And they're like, what kind of tour? He's like, a world tour or something like that. And he's like, I'm Justin Timberlake. And I don't know that the officer maybe didn't know who he was.
Recognized what that meant.
Like the officer was a young kid, so maybe he didn't know who he was. I can't hold that against him.
I mean, it's very possible. I mean, there's stories about people that they just don't know.
But whatever state he was in, I thought it was Maine. I think he had to stay overnight in like the cell.
Right.
So, which I don't think in New Jersey, I'm not sure. I don't think you have to in New Jersey. Now, every state's a little different, but
I mean, also, it's like, did they just not get bail in time?
No, I don't think that anything, because I'm pretty sure he could bail himself out if he needed to for something to that effect.
Well, for that, they might have said someone has to come and get you.
Well, they did say he was allowed a phone call, but I was like, what's this, a movie where he gets one phone call? It was like the weirdest thing, but everybody was talking about that last week because I guess the footage came out from a couple of years ago.
The handcuff thing reminds me of I was just catching up on one of my favorite shows, Paradise, and there's the one scene where the guy wakes up and he's like, is it necessary for me to handcuff me to this bed? Because the lady finds him in the middle of the woods. She doesn't know who he is. And she's like, I don't know who you are. And he's like, fair enough.
All right, couple odds here to start the season.
Yes.
MVP, Harper and Schwarber are both plus 2,500. Okay? The favorite, by the way, is Ohtani. Soto, Ronald Acuna, Fernando Tatis, Ellie De La Cruz, Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. Trey Turner, by the way, is plus 5,500. I don't see another. By the way, Bo Bichette is plus 6,500, if you were wondering. I don't see another. Alec Bohm is plus 15,000.
I got him at 25,000 over here.
Okay, so Harper Schwarber, though, plus 2,500. Now, it's hard because Ohtani is such a favorite.
Yeah.
Ohtani, by the way,
it's ridiculous.
If you want to, where's his number? Where did it go?
I have him at minus 115.
Minus 145. And then Soto's plus 900. But plus 2,500 for Harper and Schwarber. Turner's plus 5,500. For the Cy Young, the Phillies have 5 pitchers listed for the Cy Young. Suarez is plus 800. Wheeler is plus
Sanchez?
2. Sorry. You see the Ranger Suarez news, by the way? Like, they're not, I think they're like, not shutting him down, but they're taking it easy with him. They're a little disappointed with his spring so far. And this is why the Phillies didn't sign him.
Right. Because he has a long history of, it's always something. It's the arm, it's the back, it's the leg, it's the partridge in the pear tree.
All right. So Sanchez plus 800.
Yeah, Sanchez.
Wheeler plus 2,000. Luzardo plus 2,500. Nola plus 6,500.
That ain't happening.
And Painter plus 10,000. Now, do you like the Wheeler at plus 2,000? What do you have him at on your little fancy app over there?
My app, which is Caesar Sportsbook, is 1,500.
So I have better odds on mine, plus 2,000.
I don't even have Painter on my list.
Well, I'm talking about Wheeler.
You mentioned Painter earlier, Cy Young.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I like the value of Wheeler at plus 2,000.
Yeah, you got better odds over there.
If I'm going to say, hey, get a long now plus 800 for Sanchez, but Skeens is plus 210, Yamamoto plus 650, and then Sanchez plus 800, Sale at plus 1,400, Logan Webb plus 1,700, Blake Snell plus 18, Zach Wheeler is next, then Luzardo, then Ohtani, by the way.
Yeah, Ohtani's kind of low on my list, too.
I just remembered I have my fantasy baseball draft tomorrow night. It just literally hit me as we're having this conversation.
Oh, good for you.
All right. Rookie of the Year.
Not the movie.
Crawford plus 2,000. Not great odds.
I mean, you still got something out of it, though.
I mean, you want a long shot, but I'm going Painter plus 3,000.
I mean, listen, if you're just going for the long odds,
no doubt.
You're going to rock with him.
Well, Noel McLean is the favorite, plus 250, and I like Noel McLean a lot.
See, the favorite on mine is Connor Griffin.
Well, Connor Griffin is next at 330. Weatherholt, by the way, WVU, shout out to him. He's plus 500. Sal Stewart is plus 900. So you're going Crawford plus 2,000. Painter's plus 3,000.
See, the only reason why I think that even though he's not as good of odds as Crawford's the better bet is just because Crawford's going to play more, going to have more opportunities to showcase
Well, my
himself.
point is, though, McClain is the favorite, and he's a pitcher. So
right, but we also saw McClain struggle a bit in the WBC. So
exactly, though. But my point is, a pitcher is the favorite. So they're saying if you're a pitcher, it doesn't matter that you're an everyday player and you get more chances. If Painter goes out there and he has, a dominant year or a very, very good year, and he's just as good, if not better, than McClain,
right?
It doesn't matter that Crawford, say, hits 280. I don't think Crawford's numbers are going to be eye-popping enough to be the winner, but I think Painter, if he's as good as everybody's advertising, now I don't know that he will be, but from what we've heard and been told, at plus 3,000, I'd take that shot. No question about it. That, to me, of all the odds on this list, I think Painter at plus 3,000 is probably your best value. If I was to give you one Phillies player to lay a couple bucks down to win an award, that's the one I would go. Now, unless you want me to go manager of the year, I can do that for you. Manager of the year, you've got Rob Thompson at plus 2,200. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th on the list.
He's 11th on mine.
Yeah, he's kind of a long shot there, and I would be pretty shocked if he won that award, considering the Phillies are predicted. Now, we talked about this before. They won 96 games last year. Go back to all the stuff we talked about. You won 96 games with
Jordan
Romano closing games out for you. For God's
You
sakes.
can't even say it with a straight face.
No, I can't.
See, my guy I would go with, if I was to pick a long shot for one of these awards, is I think Luzardo's going to have a monster year. I think that the mentality of a guy to say, I'm not going to go to the WBC, I want to fully prepare for the season, that tells me that his head's in the right spot.
Don't hate that one. I like Luzardo. When we come back, the poll question, we'll update it one more time, close it out. At Mike Gill Show, vote right now. Right now, spring training ended today. Phillies lost 7-0. Opening day's Thursday. Sixers, Flyers, both making playoff pushes. Sixers are in. Flyers are currently out. The draft is a month out. Rank your excitement. If you have to pick one to focus on right now, where's your head at? Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, Eagles. Voting has not moved all that much in the last 2 hours, by the way. You can vote now at Mike Gill Show. We'll update the results coming up next. All right, 5:51, getting ready to get out of here tonight. Before we do, I want to tell you about my friends at the Branches Outreach. The mission is to provide food, clothing, personal care items, and compassionate support to individuals and families that unfortunately experience homelessness in Cape County. In the past year, they have welcomed over 10,000 guests into the Outreach Center. Think about that. Over 10,000 people experiencing homelessness in the area over the past year. They have served more than 12,000 meals. That's why they can use your help. They're privately funded through donations from people like our listeners. And you can donate food or personal care items during the week from 9 a.m. to 1:30 at Branches Outreach of Rio Grande. You can follow them on Facebook at Branches Outreach or visit them online at branchesoutreach.org. Learn more at thebranchesoutreach.org. Poll question. What's your focus on right now? A lot happening. End of the spring training, opening day, got the draft coming up. What is your focus on right now? Sixers, by the way, playoff push. Jared McCain returns tonight. By the way, I was going to try to find his over-under on points, but I'm going to the poll question update. Here we go. Final standings are in. 52% are focused on the Phillies right now. 24% went Eagles. 16% Flyers, and only 8% are saying, I'm into the Sixers. Now, the Flyers aren't even a playoff team right now. And quite frankly, I don't think the Flyers are going to make the playoffs. Do you?
I mean, there's like a 2% chance.
That's not very good. The Sixers are 100% in,
but
whether it's the play-in or...
The Flyers are fun, though. The Flyers are scrappy. They're winning in weird games.
The Sixers have just won 2 straight games on the road without Joel Embiid, Paul George, Kelly Oubre. I did, actually, and I happened to be in Florida.
What do you want for Jared McCain's numbers here?
What's the point total? What's the
So the app I'm on, they don't give you an over-under. They give you, like, options for, like, points.
Yeah, mine does that, too. I don't like how they do that now.
So, like, if you want plus over 15 points, it's plus 163.
What is it for over 20?
Over 20?
Yep. If I say Jared McCain's going to score over 20 tonight.
Let's see here. Of course, the thing's not cooperating because, technology.
Yeah.
Why would it cooperate? It's not giving me the option to go more.
Good. All right, well, go over.
Useless.
20. Yep, you're pretty useless right now. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. God. I would like McCain to go over 20. I think he'll go over 20 tonight. That would be my anticipation.
Oh, here's the points over-under. Oh, wow, the over-under is 11.5. Jeez, go the over hard on that.
Well, I just think he's going to get a ton of minutes because the game will be a blowout, and they're going to let him play and go put on a show.
Well, if you want over 15, it's plus 163.
All right, that'll be it for the show today. Do it again tomorrow. Don't forget, Thursday, we are live at the Anchorage in Summers Point. You can win a trip to go see the Phillies play the Orioles at Camden Yards. Here's how. Be caller 7 and 8 right now, 609-573-3776. Caller 7 and caller 8 right now, 609-573-3776. You are in for a chance to win a pair of tickets, round-trip transportation down to Baltimore to see the Phillies play the Orioles at Camden Yards. You must be present to win on Thursday at the Anchorage in Summers Point for our Phillies watch party. Show up wearing your Phillies gear, watch the Phils, and one lucky listener is walking out of there with a trip down to Baltimore to see the Phillies play the Orioles. Round-trip transportation, 2 tickets. We'll see you this Thursday at the Anchorage in Summers Point, our Phillies opening day watch party. Good luck.